Chapter 249. This sudden turn of events stunned some of the Sky Prides who were watching from afar. This kind of change was a bit too sudden, causing everyone to be unable to recover from their shock. Jiang Luoli was even more stunned. Her attention had been focused on Jun Xiaoyao the entire time. When she came back to her senses, she was already tied up by the spirit sealing chain. Jiang Luoli's face flushed with anger, and she reprimanded, "Fang Han, what are you doing?" Fang Han's face was cold and frosty. After enduring for a long time, he finally revealed his true colors. Jun Xiaoyao glanced back. To Fang Han's surprise, Jun Xiaoyao did not seem to be too surprised. This scene seemed to be within his expectations. Could he have sensed it long ago? No, that's impossible. I hid it very well, Fang Han thought to himself. Jun Xiaoyao's gaze did not fall on Jiang Luoli, who was tied up. Instead, he looked at the god's sacrificial talisman. "I see. Is this the golden finger of your eyes?" Jun Xiaoyao chuckled. He could feel that the god's sacrificial talisman contained the world's origin energy. It must be the world's origin energy of the hidden dragon continent. This was also what Jun Xiaoyao wanted. However, because Fang Han was the son of the royal lords of Dayan, he could not go too far before. Otherwise, he would have disheartened his meritorious servant. However, it did not matter now. As he expected, Fang Han was digging his own grave. However, Jun Xiaoyao looked at the spirit sealing chain that bound Jiang Luoli. This kind of spirit sealing chain was rare even in the immortal realm, let alone in the lower realm. "This spirit locking chain shouldn't be yours, right?" Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. At this moment, the heavily injured Yang Pan suddenly laughed. "Haha, Jun Xiaoyao, you're smart all your life, but you're stupid now. I was the one who gave him this spirit sealing chain." Yang Pan's words made it clear that he was working with Fang Han. "What? So it's like this? Damn it, you despicable person." Jiang Luoli's beautiful eyes were spewing flames of anger. She had always hated Fang Han, and now she was even angrier. Jiang Luoli wanted to resist, but the spirit-locking chains had locked her dermic powers. Even the treasures in the spatial artifacts could not be used, because there was no source of magic power. Looking at the struggling Jiang Luoli, Fang Han smiled nonchalantly. Then, he looked at Jun Xiaoyao and said with a hint of complacency and carefreeness, "Jun Xiaoyao, you've been humiliating me all this time. You probably didn't expect yourself to be in this situation, did you?" Fang Han was very pleased. He felt that he had grasped Jun Xiaoyao's weakness and had the upper hand. Moreover, he had been observing along the way. Jiang Luoli should be an important person to Jun Xiaoyao. Keeping Jiang Luoli in check was equivalent to keeping Jun Xiaoyao in check. This was Fang Han's confidence. "So you've been holding back all this time for this moment?" Jun Xiaoyao's expression was still calm. Fang Han chuckled. Then, without hesitation, he told the truth. It turned out that he had met Yang Pan not long after entering the fissure of the 10 realms. In the end, both of them had a grudge against Jun Xiaoyao, so they set up this trap. From the beginning to the end, Fang Han had been scheming against Jun Xiaoyao. After saying this, Fang Han smiled proudly and said, "Jun Xiaoyao, are you angry, regretful, or angry after hearing this?" Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly and shook his head. He raised his hand and took out a piece of jade. It was the light shadow stone that could record images. "I've recorded everything you said just now," Jun Xiaoyao said. Fang Han's expression changed slightly. He knew that he had been tricked by Jun Xiaoyao again, but he did not care too much. He sneered and said, "What's the use of recording this now? Do you think you can walk out of the fissure of the 10 realms alive? It's just evidence." Jun Xiaoyao put away the light shadow stone. With this thing, he could torture and kill Fang Han however he wanted. He did not have to worry about the royal lords of Dayan and the others. "Jun Xiaoyao, surrender now. Otherwise, I will sacrifice her to the sacrificial talisman," Fang Han threatened. "Brother Xiaoyao, don't worry about Luo Li. Kill them," Jiang Luoli shouted. She definitely did not want to become a burden to Jun Xiaoyao. She would rather die than be a burden to Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed slightly. He said, Do you think that the Son of God will care about this kind of threat? Oh, do you really not have any feelings for her? Fang Han stared at Jun Xiaoyao. He did not believe that Jun Xiaoyao would be indifferent to Jiang Luoli's death. Although Jiang Luoli did not want Jun Xiaoyao to be implicated because of her, if Jun Xiaoyao really did not have any feelings for her as a girl, it was inevitable that she would feel a little disappointed. Looking at the expressionless Jun Xiaoyao, Jiang Luoli bit her lip. Perhaps it has always been Luo Li's wishful thinking. Jiang Luoli felt dejected. She admitted that at the beginning, she did lick Jun Xiaoyao because of his looks. But now, Jiang Luoli liked Jun Xiaoyao not only because of his handsome face. Jiang Luoli liked his personality, his behavior, and everything about him. Looking at Jiang Luoli, who lowered her head slightly, Jun Xiaoyao pondered. In terms of absolute benefits, he did not need to care about Jiang Luoli. Jun Xiaoyao did not like Jiang Luoli that much now. Or rather, he did not care too much about any woman. This might be the trait of a scumbag, but it was the truth. Jun Xiaoyao was too hard to fall in love with. Right now, he only wanted to become stronger and become an emotionless cultivation machine. What? Aren't you going to surrender? Fang Han slightly activated the sacrificial god talisman. So, do you want to kill me directly? Jun Xiaoyao stood with his hands behind his back. Let's kill him directly, Fa Hai said to Yang Pan. This was a perfect opportunity. If he were to miss this opportunity, it would be almost impossible for him to kill Jun Xiaoyao. Yang Pan's eyes flashed as he suddenly looked at the ancient void Kuan beside the ancient void palace. He thought for a moment and said, instead of killing Jun Xiaoyao directly, why don't we make use of him and let him attract the ancient void Kuan's attention? We can take the opportunity to enter the ancient palace. Hearing Yang Pan's suggestion, Fa Hai nodded slightly. If he was swallowed by the ancient void Kuan, the void storm in its body would be enough to kill Jun Xiaoyao. He would not be able to survive. Thinking of this, Yang Pan directly said to Jun Xiaoyao, actually, there is another way. You attract the ancient void Kuan's attention, and we can release Jiang Luoli later. Oh, are you sure? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. The corners of his lips curled up slightly. The situation seemed to be under his control. Don't worry. We don't want to offend the Jiang family too much. As long as you go, we will definitely release Jiang Luoli. Yang Pan smiled faintly. No, Brother Xiaoyao, don't go. Jiang Luoli's face turned pale as she hurriedly shouted. If Jun Xiaoyao was swallowed by the ancient void Kuan, he would not be able to survive. Okay. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly. In fact, Yang Pan's suggestion was exactly what he wanted. Scheming against each other and scheming against each other. Whether it was Fang Han or Yang Pan, in front of Jun Xiaoyao, they were all his younger brothers. Jun Xiaoyao's schemes were deeper than anyone else's. Recommended reading. Load 2013. Chapter 250. Seeing how easily Jun Xiaoyao agreed to his request, Yang Pan looked rather suspicious. But now that Jiang Luoli was in their hands, he wasn't afraid that Jun Xiaoyao would use any tricks. Jun Xiaoyao, you better not play any tricks, Yang Pan said coldly. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly and walked towards the ancient void Kuan, as if he was taking a stroll. Brother Xiaoyao. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao rushing towards the ancient void Kuan, Jiang Luoli let out a cry. She was a little disappointed because Jun Xiaoyao didn't have her in his heart. But now, Jun Xiaoyao's actions proved that she still had a place in Jun Xiaoyao's heart. This made Jiang Luoli like Jun Xiaoyao even more. At the same time, she also felt sorry for Jun Xiaoyao. She didn't want anything to happen to him because of her. If Jun Xiaoyao knew, his plan had made Jiang Luoli have a good impression of him, he would probably be very helpless. After all, Jun Xiaoyao's real intention wasn't to save Jiang Luoli. Jun Xiaoyao approached the ancient void palace and threw a palm at the ancient void Kuan. The ancient void Kuan let out an angry roar and opened its mouth towards Jun Xiaoyao. It was as if the sky was about to be swallowed. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, flashed and darted to the side. The ancient void Kuan swallowed everything along the way. Good chance. Yang Pan and Fa Hai's eyes flashed. At the same time, Yang Pan also shouted to Feng Han, "You stay here and restrain Jiang Luoli. After this is over, you won't be short of benefits." With that, Yang Pan and Fa Hai flew towards the ancient Void Palace at the same time. Feng Han's eyes flashed. To be honest, he wasn't stupid enough to trust Yang Pan and Fa Hai, but there was nothing he could do. If he wanted Jun Xiaoyao dead, he had to cooperate with Yang Pan. The spirit sealing chains he used to subdue Jiang Luoli had been given to him by Yang Pan. Jiang Luoli's attention was on Jun Xiaoyao. The giant mouth of the ancient void, Kuan, unleashed a terrifying devouring power. It was like an enhanced version of the god-swallowing demonic technique. Jun Xiaoyao's entire body was swallowed by the ancient void Kuan. Big brother Xiaoyao. Jiang Luoli seemed to have lost her soul. The moment Jun Xiaoyao was swallowed by the ancient void Kuan, she felt as if her entire world was collapsing. Her originally bright eyes were no longer shining. It was as if she had become a walking corpse. It was only now that Jiang Luoli realized how important Jun Xiaoyao was to her. Tears fell from her empty eyes and dripped down her pale face. "Ah, he's dead. Jun Xiaoyao is finally dead." Feng Han laughed loudly. He was extremely excited. The mountain that had been pressing down on him had finally been crushed. The peerless hero that Jun worshipped had finally fallen. On the other side, Yang Pan and Fa Hai, who had just stepped in the ancient Void Palace, were also excited when they saw Jun Xiaoyao being swallowed by the ancient Void Kuan. Jun Xiaoyao stood above the heads of many geniuses in the immortal realm and was known as an insurmountable mountain. Now, he had finally fallen in the crack of the 10 realms. If this news spread to the immortal realm, it would definitely cause a huge commotion and shock everyone. Of course, Yang Pan and the others would also have to bear the pressure from the Jun family. However, they also had the confidence that the Jun family would not lower themselves to target them in a fight between their peers. Just when Yang Pan, Fa Hai, and Feng Han were relieved, Jun Xiaoyao, who had been swallowed by the ancient Void Kuan, was in a special space. The inside of the ancient Void Kuan's stomach was dark and deep, like the depths of the universe. Endless void windstorms swept across the area. Any living thing that was sucked in would be torn apart and broken down into pure energy in an instant, and then be absorbed by the ancient Void Kuan. Jun Xiaoyao didn't hesitate and immediately took out the blue sky ancestral dragon armor. Then, he used the strongest defensive technique of the divine elephant overpowering force, the underworld protection. The sacred body of the ancients, the blue sky ancestral dragon armor, the underworld protection, and Jun Xiaoyao's own powerful magical power shield. At this moment, his physical defense was strengthened to the extreme. It could be said that even if Jun Xiaoyao stood there and let Yang Pan and Fa Hai fight, they wouldn't be able to break through Jun Xiaoyao's defense. All kinds of void storms and void ripples hit Jun Xiaoyao's body fiercely, causing him to shake violently. If it were anyone else, even a genius from the immortal realm, their physical body would be directly shattered by this level of attack. But for Jun Xiaoyao, it could only make his body shake and his blood boil. What a terrifying void power. If I don't have some skills, I'll definitely die if I'm swallowed, Jun Xiaoyao said to himself. Only he would dare to take such a risk and enter. As for why, naturally, it was because Jun Xiaoyao had a guess in his heart. The coiling Emperor Void sword might be in the ancient Void Kuan's body. Of course, this was only Jun Xiaoyao's guess. However, his divine palace true spirit had become extremely sensitive after being tempered by the chaos divine grindstone visualization method. Therefore, Jun Xiaoyao's perception far surpassed Yang Pan and the others. Moreover, ordinary people would instinctively think that the real treasure would be in the ancient Void Palace when they encountered such a situation. No one would think that the treasure would be hidden in the ancient Void Kuan's body. The most dangerous place was the safest place. This was the reason why Jun Xiaoyao was willing to take action and be swallowed by the ancient Void Kuan. It wasn't what Jiang Luoli thought at all. He was sacrificing himself for her. Jun Xiaoyao probably didn't know that his choice had inadvertently increased Jiang Luoli's favorability. If Jiang Luoli's love for Jun Xiaoyao before was hopeless, then now, she was the kind of person who could sacrifice her life for Jun Xiaoyao. Because in her eyes, Jun Xiaoyao could also sacrifice his life for her. That void fluctuation power should still be in the depths. Jun Xiaoyao looked into the depths. He cut through the thorns and thistles. With the coiling Emperor Time, sword in hand, he cut through the void storm in front of him and rushed into the depths. The body of the ancient Void Kuan was a self-formed space. It was extremely vast and was not inferior to a small continent. Along the way, Jun Xiaoyao even encountered a strange living being. Those living beings were in human form, but their bodies were like clouds that were filled with the power of the void. Spirit of the void. Jun Xiaoyao raised his eyebrows slightly. The spirit of the void was a kind of living being formed in the space within the ancient Void Kuan's body. It was similar to a parasite-like existence. If some living beings were swallowed by the ancient Void Kuan and barely survived because of luck, then these spirits of the void would appear and kill the living beings. The spirits of the void swarmed toward Jun Xiaoyao as soon as they saw him, as if they were sharks that had smelled blood. Jun Xiaoyao held the coiling Emperor Time sword in his hand and executed the Jun family's immortal slaying sword technique. Now, Jun Xiaoyao had mastered the 3 moves of the immortal slaying sword technique: immortal fall, immortal extermination, and immortal slaying. He slashed out with the immortal slaying sword. A vast sword light burst forth, as if reflecting the scene of the immortals falling. Those spirits of the void exploded under this sword, turning into the purest void energy. Jun Xiaoyao didn't stop walking. He took out the demon wings on his back. His body shot into the depths like an arrow. However, a moment later, he suddenly saw the void in front of him distort. An incomparably huge void vortex appeared. Within it, an ancient sword could be seen flickering in and out of existence at the center of the whirlpool. Coiling Emperor Void Sword. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. Recommended reading. Load file, 2013. Chapter 251. That ancient sword was similar in shape to the Coiling Emperor Time Sword and the Coiling Emperor Life Sword. However, its entire body was filled with the power of the void, appearing and disappearing in the void. The entire huge void vortex was spinning with the Coiling Emperor Void Sword as the origin. Any existence that approached the Coiling Emperor Void Sword would be directly minced into pieces. Perhaps even Yang Pan didn't expect that the Coiling Emperor Void Sword he wanted was not in the Void Ancient Palace, but in the body of this ancient Void Kuan. I have the Coiling Emperor Time Sword and the Coiling Emperor Void Sword in front of me. Then, I will kill Yang Pan and seize the Coiling Emperor Life Sword. When the 3 swords combine, the Emperor weapon, Coiling Emperor Sword, will reappear in my hands. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were deep. Emperor weapons were the weapons of great emperors. They were extremely powerful. Their deterrence was comparable to nuclear weapons. Perhaps Pan Wu Divine Master and the others of the Jin Dynasty would never have thought that the person who had truly collected the Emperor weapon, Coiling Emperor Sword, was not Yang Pan, but him, Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao's figure flashed towards the Coiling Emperor Void Sword. The Coiling Emperor Void Sword seemed to have instinctively sensed some kind of danger. A storm rose in the surrounding void. Jun Xiaoyao activated the power of the Coiling Emperor Time Sword. When this power spread out, the Coiling Emperor Void Sword sensed an aura of the same origin and began to slowly stabilize. Jun Xiaoyao stretched out his hand and burst forth with magic power. He directly grabbed the Coiling Emperor Void Sword and placed it in his hand. Boom! The moment Jun Xiaoyao held the Coiling Emperor Void Sword in his hand, he seemed to feel the endless power of space around him. The originally illusory space seemed to have become countless layers of space in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes. He even felt that he could easily tear the void apart with a swing of his sword. It's about time to go out. I wonder how Yang Pan and the others will react. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head and chuckled. He held the Coiling Emperor Time sword in one hand and the Coiling Emperor Void sword in the other. The 2 swords slashed into the depths of the void. It was as if Pangu wanted to split the world apart. At the same time, outside the ancient Void Coin, at the entrance of the ancient Void Palace, Yongpan and Fa Hai appeared in a flash. Yongpan's expression was unsightly. There were indeed many treasures in the ancient Void Palace. However, there was no coiling Emperor Void Sword. That's not right. There should be no mistake about the resonance from before. But why isn't there any in the ancient palace? Yongpan was puzzled. On the other hand, Fahai's expression was calm and composed. He didn't think it was a pity. Most importantly, Jun Xiaoyao was dead. A knot in his heart had also been untied. Yongpan also thought of this. He sighed and said, "Forget it. Although we didn't find the Panhuang Void Sword, at least Jun Xiaoyao is dead." In Yongpan's eyes, killing Jun Xiaoyao was more important than obtaining the Panhuang Void Sword. I, Jiang Luoli, will not let you go. I will never let you go, even if I die. Jiang Luoli's beautiful eyes carried a bone-chilling coldness, as if she had turned into a dark loli. A heart-palpitating chill was emitted from her body. The spirit chi of heaven and earth seemed to be about to boil and enter a berserk state. As expected of the elemental spirit Tao body, ranked in the top 100 of the 3,000 physiques. Just her emotions alone can affect the circulation of the spirit chi of heaven and earth. Seeing this scene, Yongpan clicked his tongue and sighed. On the other hand, Fahai looked at Jiang Luoli's snow-white and cute face with an evil glint in his eyes. He had a Buddha body and a demon heart. Because of the influence of the demon heart, his actions tended to be evil. Brother Yang, I feel that letting this girl go is like letting a tiger return to the mountain. Why don't we? Fahai revealed a trace of a smile, but it was incomparably evil. Hearing this, Yongpan's eyes flickered. They had already offended the Jun family. If they offended the Jiang family, it would be very stressful for the Jin dynasty. However, thinking that even if they let Jiang Luoli go, she would still take revenge. Since that was the case, they might as well get rid of her directly. Sure, Yongpan nodded. After all, there wouldn't be any guardians in this crack of the 10 worlds. They rushed towards the bound Jiang Luoli with sinister smiles on their faces. Jiang Luoli bit her lips, just as she was about to fight to the death. The ancient void Kuan suddenly started to roll in the sky and kept roaring. What's going on? Yongpan, Fahai, Fanghan, and the others were all shocked. And Jiang Luoli's body shook as if she had thought of something. She was so excited that tears appeared in her eyes. I knew it. Brother Xiaoyao won't die so easily. Jiang Luoli was extremely happy. Sure enough, at the next moment, under the shocked gazes of Yongpan and the others, a sword aura directly cut open the ancient void Kuan's body and the power of the void exploded. A peerless figure in a white robe stepped out unhurriedly. It was Jun Xiaoyao. This, Yongpan and the others were dumbfounded. Their minds seemed to have been frozen in an instant, and they couldn't come back to their senses. Did they see a ghost? Yongpan didn't expect that Jun Xiaoyao would survive after being swallowed by the ancient Void Kuan. Instead, he cut open the ancient Void Kuan's body and slowly walked out. This had completely overturned everyone's imagination. The prodigies who had been observing the situation not far away also froze on the spot, as if they had been petrified. They could imagine how powerful Yongpan and the others were. That meant that Jun Xiaoyao's powers were far beyond what they could have imagined. They even wondered if Jun Xiaoyao was an old monster who had regained his youth. Otherwise, how could he be so powerful? Brother Xiaoyao. Jiang Luoli cried tears of joy. This feeling of regaining something that had been lost was too emotional. Jun Xiaoyao nodded at Jiang Luoli, and then looked at Yongpan and the others. Yongpan, Fahai, and Fanghan's hearts sank slightly. Jun Xiaoyao, you... Yongpan opened his mouth, but couldn't say anything. What else could he say? Even the ancient Void Kuan couldn't kill Jun Xiaoyao. Unless Jun Xiaoyao committed suicide, there was no way they could defeat Jun Xiaoyao. Fanghan also thought of this and shouted, Jun Xiaoyao, if you dare to attack, she will definitely die. Fanghan's words made Jun Xiaoyao's eyes turn cold. He hated being threatened the most. Feng Han, you must die, Jun Xiaoyao said. Feng Han activated the sacrificial talisman and approached Jiang Luoli. Try it if you dare. Feng Han's eyes were bloodshot. However, he didn't notice that an ancient sword had quietly appeared in the void behind him. It was the Coiling Emperor Void Sword. The Coiling Emperor Void Sword had the power of the void, but it was lifeless and had merged into the void. Feng Han didn't notice it at all. Oh no! When Yang Pan's gaze fell on Feng Han, his expression changed. Die. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao finished speaking. The Coiling Emperor Void Sword instantly pierced into Feng Han's head, and sword energy burst forth. The power of the void was chaotic. In a breath, Feng Han's physical body and primordial spirit were shattered into nothingness. The heaven-defying child Feng Han had fallen. Seeing this scene, Yang Pan and Fa Hai felt a chill in their hearts. Especially Yang Pan. After seeing the Coiling Emperor Void Sword, his eyes widened and his pupils trembled. He finally understood why Jun Xiaoyao was so obedient in the beginning. It was because he had long expected that the Coiling Emperor Void Sword might be in an ancient Void Koan's body. It seemed that he and Feng Han had schemed against Jun Xiaoyao. In reality, Jun Xiaoyao had beaten them at their own game and schemed against them instead. Jun Xiaoyao's scheming and shrewdness were too terrifying. Jun Xiaoyao raised his hand, and the Coiling Emperor Void Sword appeared in his hand. In his other hand, he held the Coiling Emperor Time Sword. Have you thought of your last words? Jun Xiaoyao held the sword with both hands and stood in the void. His eyes were filled with indifferent killing intent, as if he was the supreme emperor who ruled over life and death. At this moment, Yang Pan and Fa Hai only felt endless despair drowning their hearts. Everything was over. There was only one price to pay for angering Jun Xiaoyao. That was death. Recommended reading. Load file 2013. Chapter 252. It was hard to imagine that the famous marquee champion of the Panwu Jin dynasty was actually trembling like a sieve at this moment. He looked at the Pan Huang Time Sword and Pan Huang Void Sword in Jun Xiaoyao's hands and instantly understood everything. Jun Xiaoyao had actually been scheming against him all this time. It was even possible that Jun Xiaoyao had already started to have designs on the Pan Huang sword when he was in the Panwu Jin dynasty. He, Yang Pan, had completely become a leak. Now, it was about time for Jun Xiaoyao to start harvesting. It had to be said that Jun Xiaoyao's scheme was too ruthless. Jun Xiaoyao, so your goal from the beginning has been the Pan Huang sword. Yang Pan gritted his teeth. He had no idea when Jun Xiaoyao had obtained the Pan Huang Time Sword. Jun Xiaoyao had also never revealed it publicly in the Immortal region. It seems like you're not that stupid. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes revealed a trace of cold mockery. Yang Pan, who was slow to realize, had already lost all his chances. This Pan Huang sword belongs to the Panwu Jin dynasty. Aren't you afraid of angering the Panwu Jin dynasty after obtaining it? Yang Pan had no choice but to use the Panwu Jin dynasty's name. Would this son of God care? Jun Xiaoyao found it very laughable. Hearing this, Yang Pan's heart sank to the bottom. Indeed, during the prince consort selection ceremony for Wu Mingwei, Jun Xiaoyao's protector directly killed the prince of the Panwu Jin dynasty. In the end, didn't the Panwu Jin dynasty still have to swallow their pride? The Panwu Jin dynasty didn't have the confidence to go against the Jun family at all. Thinking of this, Yang Pan felt powerless. Fa Hai was also in the same mood as him. He had walked out of the Little Western Paradise with great ambition. In the end, he failed at the first stop at the Heavenly Dao Tower and was brutally abused by Jun Xiaoyao. Now that he had obtained an opportunity in the mortal world and had completely awakened the devil's heart of Buddha, he did not expect that he would still be no match for Jun Xiaoyao. This opponent was too terrifying. He was simply invincible. Jun Xiaoyao didn't waste any time and attacked with his sword. His cultivation was already heaven-defying, and with the support of Pan Huang's twin swords, he was like a tiger that had grown wings. A casual slash of the Coiling Emperor Void Sword could shatter the void for 10,000 miles. The Coiling Emperor Time sword slashed out, and the power of time spread out, dissolving everything. Under Jun Xiaoyao's relentless attacks, Yang Pan and Fa Hai were simply putting up a deathbed struggle. Even if they released all their strength and resisted with all their might, they would not be able to resist Jun Xiaoyao. They did have some protective treasures on them. However, under Jun Xiaoyao's ferocious attacks, these protective treasures were all reduced to ashes. In the end, Yang Pan roared and activated the coiling Emperor Life sword to the extreme, wanting to fight to the death. However, he was directly beheaded by Jun Xiaoyao, and his blood splattered across the sky. Yang Pan's head flew high into the sky. His twisted face was filled with anger, unwillingness, and despair. He started off as a horse breeder and was extremely lucky. He rose all the way to become the marquee champion of the Jin dynasty. His journey was smooth until he met Jun Xiaoyao in the ancient kingdom of Vermilion Bird. His fate took a turn. Over and over again, he was defeated and embarrassed by Jun Xiaoyao's attacks. Now, he finally lost his life in Jun Xiaoyao's hands. When Fa Hai saw this scene, his demonic heart was about to collapse. He lost all his will to fight and turned to leave. Jun Xiaoyao attacked with the immortal slaying sword art, and sword chi spread across 10,000 miles. Fa Hai used all his means, but in front of this sword, he was still like a piece of paper. His body was torn apart, and blood splattered everywhere. The marquee champion of the Jin dynasty of Panwu, the Arhut of the Little Western Paradise, they were all dead. One could imagine that if this news were to spread to the mystic realm, it would cause a huge shock. The imperial study, because the Panwu Jin dynasty was the immortal Jin dynasty, and the Little Western Paradise was also an immortal orthodoxy. Previously, the fallen son of God of the Fallen God Palace was indirectly killed by Jun Xiaoyao. In addition to the Little Western Paradise, the Panwu Jin dynasty, and the Demon God Palace, Jun Xiaoyao's trip to the lower realm provoked 4 immortal forces. This did not take into account the Archean royalty. Otherwise, he would have provoked even more forces. It could be said that if it were any other successor of an immortal force, they would not dare to do so. They would be flustered. However, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm. Killing these 2 people was like slaughtering 2 dogs. There was not much of a reaction. Jun Xiaoyao had the confidence to kill. Among the 3 families of the Huang clan, 2 of them were his backers. There was also the Holy Spirit College, whose disciples were all over the Huangtian mystic realm, behind him. Jun Xiaoyao was not weak. After seeing Jun Xiaoyao take care of these 2 people so cleanly, the surrounding geniuses hurriedly scattered, afraid that they would be angered. Jun Xiaoyao used the god-devouring demonic technique and turned Fa Hai's flesh and blood essence into pure energy. After all, the energy of the Buddha's demonic heart was still very strong. With a wave of his hand, the Pan Huang sword of life broke through the air and fell into his hand. At this point, Jun Xiaoyao had completely gathered the 3 swords of Pan Huang. He could also feel the close connection between these 3 swords. Then, Jun Xiaoyao reached out and grabbed the sacrificial talisman in his hand. He used his divine power and squeezed hard. This treasure of destiny of the hidden dragon continent was crushed by Jun Xiaoyao with a crack. Then, the endless power of the origin of the world spread out like a geyser. In the end, it turned into a ball of golden origin of the world that was faintly surrounded by imperial dragon chi. It was the origin of the hidden dragon continent. Jun Xiaoyao accepted it with a smile. Until now, Jun Xiaoyao had already collected the origin of the 5 continents of Tianxian, Xingqian, Sunluo, Wanxiang, and Hidden Dragon. This was equivalent to Jun Xiaoyao monopolizing half of the 10 earthly origins of the lower realm. I'm one step closer to collecting the origin of the 10 realms. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. This time his harvest was too great. He had obtained the Pan Huang Sword of Life and the Pan Huang Void Sword, as well as the origin of the Hidden Dragon Continent. He had also solved the 2 small problems of Yang Pan and Fa Hai. This feeling of harvesting leeks was too satisfying. It was simply addictive. At that moment, Jiang Luoli rushed to Jun Xiaoyao like a sparrow returning to its nest. She hugged him tightly, her arms hugging him tightly. Boo-hoo, brother Xiaoyao. It's all because Luo Li is too stupid. I've dragged you down. Don't sacrifice yourself for Luo Li next time. Luo Li isn't worth brother Xiaoyao's sacrifice. Jiang Luoli buried her small face in Jun Xiaoyao's arms, tears falling like rain. Seeing Jiang Luoli's attitude, Jun Xiaoyao was a little stunned. The reason why he went to the ancient Void Koan's body was only to investigate the whereabouts of the Pan Huang Void Sword. It had nothing to do with Jiang Luoli. Seeing Jiang Luoli so touched, Jun Xiaoyao didn't know what to say for a moment. Was this considered flirting? But Jun Xiaoyao really didn't have such thoughts. It could only be said that an unintentional willow had grown. All right, don't cry. It's just a small matter. Don't take it to heart. Jun Xiaoyao patted Jiang Luoli's little head. This warm pat on the head made Jiang Luoli cry loudly. She was very guilty and self-reproachful. Her long eyelashes were covered in tears. Only by experiencing loss would one cherish it more. The moment Jun Xiaoyao was swallowed, Jiang Luoli really thought that she would never see Jun Xiaoyao again. Jun Xiaoyao sighed in his heart, feeling helpless. Chapter 253. Jun Xiaoyao tried his best to calm Jiang Luoli down. She stopped crying. At the same time, when she thought of how Jun Xiaoyao was willing to take the risk for her, her heart was filled with happiness. Big brother Xiaoyao that. Jiang Luoli wrung her fingers. What? Jun Xiaoyao asked. After returning to the celestial realm this time, do you want to tell Mother to hold the engagement party first? Jiang Luoli smiled shyly. Ahem. Jun Xiaoyao coughed dryly. The date hasn't even been set yet, and she's already calling me mother. And you're a girl. Do you have to be so proactive? Let's go. The greatest opportunity is in the depths of the rift of the 10 realms. Jun Xiaoyao was afraid of this girl. She was too proactive, and it was a little unbearable. Looking at Jun Xiaoyao's back view, Jiang Luoli pouted, but she still had a sweet smile on her face. She snorted and said, I didn't expect big brother Xiaoyao to have such a thunderous side. But it doesn't matter. Luoli has already set her sights on you. Jiang Luoli grinded her small canine teeth and chuckled. If Jun Xiaoyao heard this, he would probably complain again. Her canine teeth hurt. Jun Xiaoyao rushed straight into the depths of the rift of the 10 realms, because he didn't forget that he still had a chance to sign in at the altar of heroes. The martyr's altar was the opportunity he valued the most. This transformation might cause his realm to skyrocket, and he would far surpass his peers. As for the remaining 5 world sources, Jun Xiaoyao wasn't worried. He had already vaguely sensed that the other 5 world sources were in the rift of the 10 realms, on the bodies of some prodigies. Finally, the second volume of the physical book. Jun Xiaoyao felt that, in the lower realms, only the rift of the 10 realms might have the second volume of the physical book, because if it appeared in the 10 continents, it would have been discovered long ago. The rift between the 10 realms was the most secretive place. Since ancient times, not many people have been able to enter it. Thinking of this, Jun Xiaoyao continued to explore. On the other side, Jun Xiaoyao's 2 followers, Yu and Yin Qingying, were also looking for their own opportunities. Yin Qingying came to a deathly silent land. The land was pitch black in color. All the plants and creatures seemed to have withered as their life force was absorbed. At first glance, it didn't look like a place with treasures. Those geniuses who were lucky enough to enter the rift of the 10 realms would not waste their time in such a place. However, Yin Qingying had come over for some reason. Even she herself didn't quite understand it. It was just that subconsciously, there seemed to be some kind of attraction that was pulling her over. Yin Qingying kept moving forward. In front of her was a deep valley. Waves of dark energy kept sweeping through it. All of the surrounding spiritual chi of heaven and earth seemed to be sucked into it along with the tide. Yin Qingying's beautiful eyes flickered. She twisted her delicate body and flashed in. In the core of the valley, there was a pitch-black energy source. If one looked carefully, they would see it. In the black energy source, there was a pitch-black seed. The pitch-black seed was dark and deep, as if it was pure black. It was as if the dark energy of heaven and earth had gathered together and compressed into such a seed. That's the darkness immortal seed. Yin Qingying's beautiful eyes that were as dark as the night star shone with an unprecedented luster. When she inherited the god-devouring demonic technique, she had also obtained some information. It also recorded what was the most suitable immortal seed for the successor of the god-devouring demonic technique. And the darkness immortal seed was the most suitable immortal seed for the successor of the god-devouring demonic technique. Yin Qingying did not expect that there would be an immortal seed in the rift between the 10 realms. She also did not expect that it would be the most suitable darkness immortal seed for her. Together, Master is right. I have my own opportunity. Yin Qingying's beautiful eyes were very bright. At this moment, she admired Jun Xiaoyao even more. He was simply a divine foresight. It would be difficult for her not to rule the world in the future if she followed such a master. However, just as Yin Qingying was about to take the darkness immortal seed, suddenly a chaotic mist filled the void, and a palm print surrounded by chaotic qi pressed down from the sky. Yin Qingying was caught off guard and could only temporarily dodge. The darkness immortal seed was directly grabbed by the palm print. Who is it? Yin Qingying's snow-white face was cold, and her beautiful face was filled with killing intent. She was only a little girl, and a gentle girl in front of Jun Xiaoyao. She did not have a good expression when facing others. In the sky, 2 figures, one male and one female, appeared. The man's face was like jade, and he wore a reddish gold robe. Chaotic qi surrounded him, and he was filled with a powerful aura. As for the woman, she sat cross-legged on a green lotus, and immortal light surrounded her. Her face was covered with a veil, making it difficult for others to see her clearly. She was like a female immortal who was isolated from the mortal world. These 2 people were the strongest heaven-defying son, Li Daoxian and Ji Qingyi. My luck is indeed not bad. I even obtained a darkness immortal seed. Li Daoxian played with the darkness immortal seed in his hand, and there was a leisurely smile on his handsome face. These words made Yin Qingying's face turn cold. This darkness immortal seed was clearly an opportunity that belonged to her. However, the man in front of her had snatched it away. However, she could also feel that Li Daoxian was not ordinary. Moreover, the aura on his body gave Yin Qingying a faint sense of oppression. However, the one that Yin Qingying feared the most was Ji Qingyi. Her aura was too celestial. She even had a trace of an aura similar to Jun Xiaoyao's. They were both so otherworldly. Fortunately, Yin Qingying could feel that Ji Qingyi did not have any intention of attacking her. She was just watching from the side. Who are you? Yin Qingying's pitch-black, beautiful eyes were as deep as a black hole, emitting a heart-palpitating, devouring power. Seeing this, Li Daoxian said indifferently, I can feel that you are one of the 10 heaven-defying children. I will give you a chance. Hand over the world's origin energy and submit to me. Then I can spare your life. Hearing Li Daoxuan's words, Yin Qingying finally understood. She understood why Li Daoxian could vaguely give her a sense of oppression. It was because he was very likely the strongest existence among the 10 heaven-defying children. He was also the so-called Gu King. What, no reaction? I have already killed 2 of the 10 heaven-defying children. I don't mind killing 1 more. Li Daoxuan's face slowly darkened. The 10 heaven-defying children had a faint sense of each other. Li Daoxian had coincidentally sensed Yin Qingying's aura, which was why he had followed her all the way here. Hearing Li Daoxuan's threat, Yin Qingying smiled coldly. Did he think that he was great just because he had killed 2 heaven-defying children? Her master, Jun Xiaoyao, had killed many more heaven-defying children than Li Daoxian. Give up. I have already given my world's origin energy to my master. Moreover, I will only be loyal to him forever, Yin Qingying said coldly. What? Hearing this, Li Daoxuan's face was as dark as water. He did not expect that someone had already subdued Yin Qingying. Moreover, Yin Qingying had even taken the initiative to give away the world's origin energy. You deserve to die. Chapter 254. Li Daoxian was a little embarrassed. In his opinion, as one of the 10 heaven-defying children, how could she submit to others so easily? Yin Qingying's actions were a humiliation to Li Daoxian, who was also one of the 10 heaven-defying children. Not to mention that she had even offered up the world's origin energy. This was something that Li Daoxian could not tolerate. The world's origin energy was something that he had to obtain. "Who is your master?" Li Daoxian asked coldly as he attacked. He wanted to know who could subdue this arrogant, heaven-defying child. Yin Qingying did not answer. She waved her hand, which transformed into a terrifying, devouring vortex that collided with Li Daoxuan's attack. Seeing Yin Qingying's attack, Ji Qingyi's clear eyes suddenly flashed with light. That move, could it be? Ji Qingyi murmured in her heart. Yin Qingying's ability reminded her of a rather famous demonic art in the immortal region. The creator of a demonic art was notorious. He went around devouring others. In the end, he angered everyone and was heavily injured. In the end, he disappeared without a trace. The people of the immortal region all thought that the creator of the demonic art was already dead. However, Ji Qingyi did not expect to see such a notorious demonic art in the lower realm. If this news spread to the immortal region, who knew how many waves it would cause? After all, many factions were harmed by the creator of the demonic art. However, Ji Qingyi did not act rashly. She observed carefully. On the other hand, Li Daoxian was merciless. He decided to first forcefully suppress Yin Qingying, then force her to find her master, and finally take back the world's origin energy. However, to Li Daoxuan's surprise, Yin Qingying's strength far exceeded his expectations. With his identity as the strongest heaven-defying child, dealing with the other heaven-defying children was no different from chopping melons and vegetables. However, facing Yin Qingying, he was unable to gain an absolute advantage. He naturally did not understand that Yin Qingying had first devoured the fallen son of God, and then devoured the Sky Demon Prince's demon god bloodline. It could be said that in terms of talent and potential, Yin Qingying was not inferior to the top prodigies of the immortal region. The successor of the god-devouring demonic art improved extremely quickly. If she didn't have this potential, Jun Xiaoyao wouldn't have gone against the fallen son of God for her. Li Daoxian formed a seal with one hand, and a seal surrounded by chaotic aura appeared. Everywhere it passed, space cracked, and it suppressed Yin Qingying. Behind Yin Qingying, the black and white fallen angel wings flapped. Yin and Yang Qi circulated and transformed into two beams of divine light that shot out and collided with the chaotic Dharma seal. She waved her hands and summoned another devouring vortex. At the same time, a demonic figure appeared behind her. That was the effect of the demon god bloodline. There was nothing special about Yin Qingying's physique. The only special thing about her was that she could contain any kind of power. The power of the fallen son of God and the power of the demonic god's bloodline were all absorbed by her and refined perfectly. Damn it! Seeing that he couldn't easily suppress Yin Qingying, Li Daoxuan's face turned ugly. Of course, his strength was not limited to this. He did not even use the world's origin energy. However, this feeling of not being able to suppress her made him very unhappy. He lost face in front of Ji Qingyi. However, Ji Qingyi, who had been watching the battle from the side, was completely sure. Yin Qingying was the successor of the god-devouring demonic art. If the god-devouring demonic art reappears in the world, it won't be a good thing if it's not controlled. Ji Qingyi had some thoughts. She started to consider recruiting Yin Qingying. In terms of value, Yin Qingying was definitely not inferior to Li Daoxian. Moreover, both the Ji family and the human immortal sect had the ability to nurture the successor of the god-devouring demonic art. Thinking of this, Ji Qingyi said, "You are the successor of the god-devouring demonic art. Are you willing to join the Ji family or the human immortal sect?" Hearing Ji Qingyi's words, Li Daoxuan's eyes flashed coldly. Logically speaking, it should be something to be proud of for a lower world genius to be recruited by a celestial realm faction. However, Yin Qingying had a mocking expression on her face as she said, I have said that I will only be loyal to my master for all eternity. You might not know what the Ji family and the human immortal sect represent. If the master behind you heard about these two powers, he would definitely be terrified. Ji Qingyi's voice was as cold as a spring as she said indifferently. The Ji family and the human immortal sect. One was a clan of the ancients, while the other was an imperishable orthodoxy. In her eyes, no matter how strong Yin Qingying's master was, he was just a genius of a large faction in the celestial realm. Even the successor of an imperishable orthodoxy would be wary of the Ji family and the human immortal sect. However, Yin Qingying still had a fearless expression on her face. She knew how powerful her master, Jun Xiaoyao's background was. Who is your master? Ask him to come and see me. Ji Qingyi's eyes were calm, and her tone was aloof. Truly a frog at the bottom of a well. To be able to be fancied by Fairy Qing is a blessing that you can't cultivate even in 10 lifetimes. What does that master of yours count for when compared to Fairy Qing? Li Daoxian said with a cold smile. My master is the son of God of the Jun family, Jun Xiaoyao. Yin Qingying said confidently as she stared at Ji Qingyi. Heaven and earth seemed to be silent for a moment after she said that. The calmness in Ji Qingyi's eyes was instantly broken. A huge wave was created. This was an expression that Li Daoxian had never seen before. What did you say, Jun Xiaoyao? Ji Qingyi took a deep breath as her chest heaved up and down. She had expected that Jun Xiaoyao might enter the crack of the 10 worlds. However, she had not expected that the master behind the successor of the god-swallowing demonic art was actually Jun Xiaoyao. What? Jun Xiaoyao? It's him? Li Daoxian frowned slightly. He had already known how powerful Jun Xiaoyao was from Ji Qingyi. However, he had not thought much of it and was even a little jealous. This was because Ji Qingyi's demeanor would only change when Jun Xiaoyao was mentioned. It was as if she had turned from a high and mighty deity into a human. However, Ji Qingyi was still high and mighty when facing him. He could only look at her from afar. This is troublesome. Ji Qingyi frowned. She was very smart and did not want to provoke Jun Xiaoyao. However, Li Daoxian had already unknowingly become enemies with Jun Xiaoyao. I'll leave this darkness immortal seed with you for now. I will personally take it back. Yin Qingying looked deeply at Li Daoxian. The fallen angel wings on her back flapped, and her body flashed into the distance. Li Daoxian did not chase after her, because she did not have the origin energy of the realm on her. Sigh, I can't avoid it in the end. Ji Qingyi shook her head slightly. Perhaps this was the will of the heavens. Fairy Qingyi, is there a need to be so wary of Jun Xiaoyao? Is my strength not enough to deal with him? Li Daoxian frowned. The greatest insult to a man was that he was not as good as another man. Ji Qingyi looked at Li Daoxian and did not say anything. However, she was thinking in her heart, if you can't even suppress his followers, how can you deal with him? Compared to Jun Xiaoyao, Li Daoxian was still too young. We can only take one step at a time. Let's quickly enter the deepest part of the crack of the 10 worlds and leave after finding the opportunity. Otherwise, you might not be able to walk out of the crack of the 10 worlds safely. Ji Qingyi looked at Li Daoxian and said, this was already a warning. Li Daoxian's eyes darkened. He was protected by the heavens and had a smooth journey. He had never met with any setbacks. However, Ji Qingyi's advice was no different from humiliation in his eyes. How bad was he in Ji Qingyi's eyes? They had not even fought, and she already thought that he was not as good as Jun Xiaoyao. Li Daoxian felt extremely wronged. He even wanted to fight with Jun Xiaoyao personally to prove his ability to Ji Qingyi. Chapter 255. In the Rift of the 10 Realms, Jun Xiaoyao and Zhang Luoli flew towards the deepest part of the rift. Jun Xiaoyao did not need to care about the other opportunities in the Rift of the 10 Realms. However, the Hero Spirit Altar was the opportunity that he valued the most. It was related to his transformation. The deeper they went, the more the token sachet in Jun Xiaoyao's hand emitted a resonance. It was obvious that he was not far from the Hero Spirit Altar. At that moment, a beautiful figure flew over from afar. It was Yin Qingying, young master. Yin Qingying called out when she saw Jun Xiaoyao. What's wrong? Jun Xiaoyao asked when he saw that Yin Qingying's hair was slightly messy and she had a fighting aura. Yin Qingying then told him everything that had happened. I see. Ji Qingyi has also come to the lower realm and has formed an alliance with a heaven-defying child. However, that heaven-defying child is obviously not simple. He has the three realms' origins, Jun Xiaoyao said. Yin Qingying said that the heaven-defying child had once killed the other two heaven-defying children. It meant that he alone had the three realms' origins. Ordinary heaven-defying children could not be so strong. Young master, I'm sorry. Did I cause trouble for you? Yin Qingying said weakly. She was like a cold queen of darkness in front of Li Daoxian and the others. However, in front of Jun Xiaoyao, she was like a gentle girl. It's nothing. Not only did you not cause me trouble, but you also brought me a fat sheep. Jun Xiaoyao smiled. The heaven-defying child, called Li Daoxian, had the three realms' origins. It saved Jun Xiaoyao the effort of collecting the world's origins. He had the five realms' origins, while Li Daoxian had the three realms' origins. Jun Xiaoyao believed that the remaining two realms' origins must be with a certain prodigy in the rift of the 10 realms. That was because the prodigy who could obtain the world's origins would definitely be able to enter the rift of the 10 realms. Don't worry. Your darkness immortal seed will definitely be retrieved, comforted Jun Xiaoyao. Thank you, young master. Yin Qingying bowed, and the love hidden deep in her eyes could not be completely concealed. This made Jiang Luoli pout, but she didn't say anything. Didn't this prove that her big brother Xiaoyao was so charming that no woman could resist him? Of course, this also made Jiang Luoli feel a sense of danger. She began to think about how she could take over Jun Xiaoyao first. Isn't it time to cook the rice? Jun Xiaoyao didn't notice the slyness in Jiang Luoli's big eyes at all. Just as he was about to set off, in the distant sky, a figure flashed over again. It was Yu. At this moment, Yu's aura was still at the Tao integration realm. However, he had a different feeling from before. Young master. Yu cupped his fists at Jun Xiaoyao with a hint of excitement on his face. Seems like you've gained a lot of opportunities. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. That's right. Yu stretched out his hand, and flames surged. A scarlet fire seed was burning. This is the Xianyang divine fire? Jun Xiaoyao was a little surprised. Yu didn't need to look for the immortal seed to reach the Tao integration realm, because he had already merged with his Sun True Seed and become a Tao integration realm expert. The realm after the Tao integration realm was the Nirvana realm. The Nirvana realm was to find a suitable fire seed to undergo nirvana and transform the Divine Palace True Spirit into a small primordial spirit. The Xianyang Divine Fire was an extremely rare and powerful fire seed. It was also very compatible with EU's own cultivation attributes. That's right. You can wait until you reach the Hero Spirit Altar before refining the fire seed to undergo nirvana. It should be very beneficial for you. Jun Xiaoyao said. EU's choice to not merge with the Xianyang Divine Fire immediately was the right choice. Yes, thank you for your advice. Jun Xiaoyao's suggestion was to help EU improve his strength and make him stronger. EU was even more grateful to have such a master who took care of him. He was even more determined to follow Jun Xiaoyao. All right, let's go. The geniuses in the 10 Realms Rift should be gathering at the altar now. Jun Xiaoyao said. After the 4 of them gathered again, they rushed towards the deepest part of the 10 Realms Rift together, just as Jun Xiaoyao and the others were about to move. The other geniuses in the 10 Realms Rift also rushed towards the deepest part at the same time. And the deeper they went, the more they discovered that there were extremely powerful remnant souls and resentful spirits. These remnant souls and resentful spirits seemed to be living beings that had perished near the Hero Spirit Altar. Every remnant soul was extremely powerful. Occasionally, there would be geniuses that perished beneath the hands of these remnant souls. Bang! In another world, 2 figures appeared. One of them was a handsome youth in a black and gold robe. He reached out his hand. The power of samsara surged, tearing apart a remnant soul in front of him. This pale and handsome youth was the ancient freak of the Samsara demon sect, River of Forgetfulness. And beside him was a young girl in a short black skirt. She was as pure and charming as an enchantress. She was naturally the demon's celestial cult's Xiao Maxian. We should be arriving at the hero spirit altar soon. That is the origin point where the destiny of the 10 realms rift gathers. There are great lucky chances there. Xiao Maxian blinked her bright eyes, a look of anticipation in them. Your enemy, the saintess of the human celestial cult, should also go there. River of Forgetfulness lightly said. Hee. At that time, the brave will emerge victorious. Xiao Maxian chuckled. The two of them continued forwards. Along the way, the remnant souls and resentful spirits weren't able to stop them at all. Finally, around 2 hours passed. They arrived at the deepest part of the 10 Realms Rift. Looking around, even Xiao Maxian and River of Forgetfulness felt their minds shake. This was because this land was a deep white. This wasn't the color of the soil, but the color of white bones. Countless white bones covered the earth. And at the end of this land of bones, there was a pyramid-shaped altar. It stood tall, exuding a wild, primitive, ancient, and mysterious aura. This ancient altar was also covered with bones. Just looking at it made one's scalp tingle. Was this a land of lucky chances or a burial ground? Is that the hero spirit altar? Xiao Maxian looked at the altar covered in bones. Her face was no longer as relaxed and playful as before, but rather dignified and dignified. River of Forgetfulness, have been buried in the lower realms for so long because of this lucky chance. I want to transform on the hero spirit altar and walk down an unprecedented road. River of Forgetfulness let out a deep breath. To walk down a road that no one had ever walked down before. This was likely the common goal of all peerless proud children of heaven. But those that could truly walk down this broad road were far, far too few, nearly zero. Of course, if one followed the path of their predecessors, they could also confirm their Tao and become an emperor, climbing to the peak. But in the end, people were ambitious. There was no need to mention an ancient freak like River of Forgetfulness. In the surroundings, there were also a small number of proud children of heaven that arrived. As they saw the scene in front of them, they fell into a state of shock. Let's go. Xiao Maxian's eyes flashed. She wanted to climb the hero spirit altar with River of Forgetfulness. But at this time, a voice as cold as a spring echoed out. Xiao Maxian, you really are here. Chapter 256. Hearing this familiar voice, Xiao Maxian paused her steps and turned around to look. Two figures had arrived. It was Ji Qing Yi and Li Daoxian. For a time, the atmosphere froze. On one side was the saintess of the human immortal sect and the strongest heaven-defined child. On the other side was the saintess of the demon immortal sect and the ancient freak of the demon sect of Samsara. The atmosphere in the surrounding area seemed to have changed. As for the other geniuses who came here, none of them dared to move. If they wanted to ascend the heroic spirit altar, they would most likely be targeted by Ji Qing Yi and Xiao Maxian. Therefore, the surroundings of the martyr's altar fell into a strange silence. In this silence, Xiao Maxian was the first to break it. She grinned, her pure and beautiful face carrying a trace of charm. She chuckled and said, "So it's Sister Qing. Have you been following me? The fortuitous encounters of heaven and earth are obtained by those who are fated." Ji Qing Yi was still aloof, her temperament unparalleled. Her face was covered with a veil, covering her beautiful face. Only a pair of eyes that reflected autumn water could be seen. She looked at Wang Chuan with a dignified expression. Wang Chuan's aura made her feel a little wary. Wang Chuan had just broken out of his seal, and his aura had yet to merge with the aura of this era. His cultivation was far from the peak. Even Princess Longji needed to go into seclusion for a period of time to completely adapt to the aura of this era. But even if Wang Chuan had not reached the peak, the faint pressure still made Ji Qing Yi feel a little troubled. "This is," Ji Qing Yi said, "demon sect of Samsara, Wang Chuan." Wang Chuan stood with his hands behind his back, his expression calm. Demon sect of Samsara. Ji Qing Yi's eyes flashed. Demon sect of Samsara had long disappeared in the dust of history. However, Wang Chuan was still quite famous back then. After all, he had the Saint Samsara body and was one of the most brilliant geniuses of his era. Ji Qing Yi's heart sank. She did not expect Xiao Maxian to find an ancient freak as an ally. In comparison, although Li Daoxuan's luck and strength were amazing, he was still a little immature compared to Wang Chuan. At this time, Li Daoxuan's gaze locked onto Wang Chuan. The reason for that was because he was able to faintly sense the world's origin energy being emitted from the Forgotten River's body. You have a world's origin? Li Daoxuan's eyes flashed. The River of Forgetfulness raised his eyebrows slightly. He had also sensed the surging world's origin energy within Li Daoxuan's body. Moreover, there was an additional aura that was stronger than his. This meant that there were 3 world essences in Li Daoxuan's body. Immediately, a strange look appeared in their eyes. They both wanted to obtain the other's world origin. Hee, big sister Qing Yi, this heroic spirit altar is extremely dangerous. If you aren't careful, then you might die. Big sister, you shouldn't climb it. Xiao Maxian chuckled. Her words seemed to be out of consideration for Ji Qing Yi. However, his true meaning was that he did not want Ji Qing Yi to ascend the heroic spirit altar. The human immortal sect and the demon immortal sect were at odds with each other. She and Ji Qing Yi were in a competitive relationship. Xiao Maxian naturally didn't want to see Ji Qing Yi become stronger. Xiao Maxian, these are also the words I wanted to say to you. It was impossible for Ji Qing Yi to retreat. Instead, she confronted Xiao Maxian. The smell of gunpowder seemed to be spreading between heaven and earth. In the next moment, the 4 of them attacked at the same time. Chaos energy exploded around Li Daoxian. He stretched out his hand, causing the void to collapse inch by inch. He could also feel the river of forgetfulness's strength. Thus, he attacked with his full strength. He did not hold back like when he dealt with Yin Qingying. If Li Daoxian attacked with his full strength, his strength would be terrifying. His might would cause one to tremble in fear. Heavens, could that be the legendary Chaos Body? The surrounding geniuses cried out in alarm. The Chaos Body, even in the celestial realm, was a physique rarely seen in 10,000 years, much less in the lower realms. This was why it was so shocking. Chaos Body? Seeing Li Daoxian attack, a trace of surprise flashed in River of Forgetfulness's eyes. Although it was indeed primal chaos chi, he still felt that something was wrong. However, River of Forgetfulness didn't think too much about it. He also attacked. Even if Li Daoxian had the Chaos Body, for better or worse, he still had the Reincarnation Saint Body. Even if he couldn't crush the Chaos Body, he could at least contend with it. River of Forgetfulness also punched out a palm, carrying the power of Samsara. Of these 2 people, one brazenly attacked, chaos energy filling the air. The other pushed out a palm, the power of Samsara bursting forth. The 2 of them were like 2 needles against each other. The moment their bodies collided, endless ripples spread out. Ji Qingyi and Xiao Maxian also began their battle. Ji Qingyi flicked her jade-like hands, magic power surging and immortal light shining. It was as if the phantom of a female immortal had appeared behind her. As for Xiao Maxian, she was mischievous like a witch. Demonic light burst forth from her hands. Her entire temperament changed, as if she were a witch that could charm all living beings. This strange charm was paired with her pure and beautiful face. She was a combination of innocence and charm. It was extremely moving. The celestial demon cult was rumored to be the legacy of a demonic immortal. Xiao Maxian had naturally inherited all sorts of peerless techniques. As the 2 of them fought, it was extremely pleasing to the eye. They were like beautiful women dancing in the heavens. But compared to these 2 women, Li Daoxian and River of Forgetfulness's battle was much fiercer. Li Daoxian punched out. Endless threads of chaos energy twined around his fist. Every wisp of energy was as heavy as a mountain, capable of crushing mountains. Chaos energy was one of the most powerful strengths in the world. It was enough to make one dread it. If it were any other proud child of heaven, their mortal body would explode if they were brushed by the chaos energy. But River of Forgetfulness was different. He possessed the samsara saint body and also controlled the power of samsara. This was also an extreme strength. The two of them fought until the void exploded and the world shook. Behind River of Forgetfulness, an illusory wheel appeared. It rolled through the air, its power overwhelming. Bang! With a loud bang, Li Daoxian was forced backwards, blood tumbling in his chest. In terms of foundation, he was still a bit inferior to River of Forgetfulness. To make a comparison, Li Daoxian was like a nouveau riche who had suddenly soared up because of a moment of destiny. River of Forgetfulness had accumulated for a long time and had a deep background. Just as Li Daoxian was about to use his strongest move, a light voice sounded out from the distance. It's quite lively here. This voice seemed to have a strange magical power. It caused Ji Qingyi, Xiao Maxian, Li Daoxian, and River of Forgetfulness to stop what they were doing and turn their eyes. 4 figures appeared in the distance. It was Jun Xiaoyao's group of 4. Jun Xiaoyao's robes were whiter than snow. Celestial light lingered around him, and his temperament was transcendent. His eyes first fell on the heroic spirit altar in the distance, and then turned back to look at Li Daoxian and the others. Brother Xiaoyao. As Ji Qingyi saw Jun Xiaoyao, her expression changed, but her attitude remained calm. On the other side, as Xiao Maxian saw Jun Xiaoyao, her mouth fell open. She was a bit stunned. As the saying goes, seeing is better than hearing 100 times. Only when one truly saw Jun Xiaoyao could they understand that the phrase peerless immortal was not a description, but a true portrayal of Jun Xiaoyao. Little big brother Xiaoyao is really so handsome. I love you. Xiao Maxian was stunned for a moment before regaining her senses. Her eyes shined with a brilliant light. You're Jun Xiaoyao. Li Daoxian frowned. Although he had always been disdainful of Jun Xiaoyao, now that he saw him for real, that temperament, that faint pressure, gave Li Daoxian a bad feeling. Forget Chuan also looked at Jun Xiaoyao. Although this was the first time he had seen him, he had heard about him many times from Xiao Maxian. Jun Xiaoyao glanced at Li Daoxian and Luang Chuan. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth as he said, "It seems that the remaining origin of the world is with you too. Very well, I won't have to waste my time looking for it." Hearing this, a sharp light flashed in Li Daoxuan's eyes. As for Forget Chuan, her expression was calm. She said lightly, "As expected of the son of God of the Jun family. You talk big, but I have a question. Why didn't you wait until both of us were injured before you appeared?" He was competing with Li Daoxian. If Jun Xiaoyao had waited a little longer, he would have been able to benefit from the fight between the sandpiper and the clam. Wasn't it better to be the Oriole? Jun Xiaoyao laughed and shook his head. "I'm sorry, to deal with you, I can just sweep through you. Is there a need to go through so much trouble?" Jun Xiaoyao's words stunned everyone present. His attitude could no longer be described as arrogant. He didn't put any heaven-defying children, ancient freaks, or saintesses in his eyes at all. Jun Xiaoyao alone was enough to suppress anyone who refused to accept him. Chapter 257. Li Daoxian, River of Forgetfulness, Ji Qingyi, and Xiao Maxian were strong. The surrounding geniuses were well aware of this. If they went up, they absolutely wouldn't be a match for the 4 of them. But now, Jun Xiaoyao had arrived and said such words, leaving everyone speechless. Even Ji Qingyi, who had seen Jun Xiaoyao's strength with her own eyes, frowned as she heard this. Jun Xiaoyao's words were a bit excessive. However, Jun Xiaoyao didn't care if others believed him or not. This was because Jun Xiaoyao's principles were simple. I came, I saw, I conquered. It was that simple. You also have a world source on you, and more than one. Li Daoxian looked deeply at Jun Xiaoyao. He could naturally feel the aura of the world source on Jun Xiaoyao's body. Moreover, there were even more of it than him. This caused Li Daoxuan's heart to burn with passion. After all, his goal was to obtain the source of the 10 realms and become a heaven-defying king. River of Forgetfulness also looked at Jun Xiaoyao with interest. He had also been collecting world sources, but he had only collected 2. Originally, he wanted to obtain the world source on Li Daoxian. But now, Jun Xiaoyao had arrived. He was simply overflowing with wealth. The world source on him was as much as the 2 of them combined. You want to obtain my world source? It looks like you'll be following in the footsteps of Yang Pan and Fa Hai. Jun Xiaoyao faintly smiled. Yang Pan and Fa Hai, Daoist brother Xiaoyao, what happened to them? Ji Qingyi asked. They died. I killed them. Jun Xiaoyao calmly said. Ji Qingyi's clear eyes rippled. Her heart was unsettled. Heavens! Little big brother Xiaoyao, you actually killed the Little Western Paradise's holy son and the Jin Dynasty's marquee champion. Xiao Maxian covered her mouth, unable to help but cry out in alarm. These 2 weren't random people, but proud geniuses of immortal orthodoxies. Jun Xiaoyao even dared to casually kill them. It could be said that he was truly unscrupulous. Jun Xiaoyao did not say anything. He reached out his hand and suppressed Li Daoxian and Forget Chuan at the same time. He wanted to obtain the world origin from the 2 of them and gather all of it before ascending the martyr's altar. Li Daoxian and Wang Chuan had a cold look on their faces when they saw Jun Xiaoyao coming at them at the same time. Just how much did he look down on them? When Ji Qingyi saw this, her expression changed slightly. Li Daoxian was a genius that she recruited for the Ren immortal sect. If he died in the hands of Jun Xiaoyao, then all her efforts would be in vain. Just as Ji Qingyi was about to attack, Jiang Luoli flashed and blocked in front of her. The proud daughter of the Jiang clan. Ji Qingyi raised her eyebrows slightly. White Lotus, don't try to disturb Xiaoyao Gij. Jiang Luoli directly attacked. On the other side, Xiao Maxian's eyes turned. She turned around, wanting to head towards the martyr's altar. But in the blink of an eye, she was blocked by 2 figures. They were Yu and Yan Qingying. Little big brother, big sister, what are you doing? Xiao Maxian blinked her large eyes, a pure and innocent expression on her face. But you didn't fall for this. He indifferently said, before young master ascends the martyr's altar, no one is allowed to take a single step near it. You are too overbearing. Xiao Maxian pouted, frowning. Yu coldly snorted. Without any nonsense, he summoned the Star Execution Destruction Bow and shot an arrow at Xiao Maxian. He didn't show any mercy to Xiao Maxian, just because she was pure and beautiful. To him, Jun Xiaoyao's interests were the most important. In an instant, a great battle erupted once more. The fluctuations were even more intense than before. As for the other prodigies who came here, they could only watch from afar. They couldn't participate in this battle at all, let alone approach the martyr's altar. The most intense battle was naturally Jun Xiaoyao's battle against Li Daoxian and River of Forgetfulness alone. Of these 2 people, one was the strongest heaven-defying child with the origin of chaos, and the other was an ancient freak of the demon sect of Samsara. Both of them had the strength to sweep through an area. It could be said that even in the celestial realm, these 2 people could bloom with glory and reach the peak of prodigies. Chaos body? Seeing the chaos aura surrounding Li Daoxuan's fist, Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed with surprise. He had heard by chance that a chaos body had appeared in the lower realms. At that time, Jun Xiaoyao had been puzzled. The chaos body, even in the celestial realm, was rare. Like the sacred body of the ancients, it was the rarest physique. How could it appear in the lower realms so casually? Even if the 10 realms were in chaos and fate was gathering, it would still be difficult to brew a chaos body that could suppress eternity. Now, after seeing this chaos body with his own eyes, Jun Xiaoyao's doubts were resolved. This was a fake and shoddy product. He could feel that there was a mass of chaotic energy in Li Daoxuan's body. That mass of chaotic energy was the source of his chaos aura. Could it be the origin of the world that contains the power of chaos? Jun Xiaoyao speculated. That was most likely the case. Chaos Sky-Splitting Seal. Li Daoxian used his ultimate move. He pushed his hands horizontally, revealing a terrifying divine seal surrounded by chaos aura. Wherever it passed, the void would shatter. The power of this move was extremely strong. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were calm. He punched out, accompanied by the shadow of a dragon elephant. Now, most of the granules of the giant elephant in Jun Xiaoyao's body had been transformed into dragon elephant granules. Every move of his was accompanied by the shadow of a dragon elephant. The dragon elephant was the symbol of great power. One punch could overturn heaven and earth, reverse the universe, control the sun and the moon, and pluck the stars. Boom! The golden fist light illuminated the sky and collided with the chaos sky-splitting seal. One punch. After destroying the chaos sky-splitting seal, the fist light did not lose momentum and smashed toward Li Daoxian. Li Daoxian hurriedly used his chaos aura to form a barrier to block, but he was still sent flying by that terrifying divine power. That was 3 billion pounds of divine power. It was simply beyond the imagination of his peers. Li Daoxian spat out blood. His eyes were filled with unprecedented shock. His strongest move had been broken by Jun Xiaoyao with one punch. This was unimaginable. On the other hand, Wang Chuan's eyes flashed. With his identity as an ancient freak, he was actually disdainful of joining forces with others to deal with Jun Xiaoyao. But after sensing the terrifying divine power that could shatter the heavens, Wang Chuan's expression turned grave. He was an ancient freak, but he was not a fool. Now was not the time to let his emotions affect his decisions. So Wang Chuan directly attacked. The power of reincarnation erupted as if it was going to bring everything into the reincarnation void. The power of reincarnation? Jun Xiaoyao was slightly surprised. He was no stranger to the power of reincarnation. He had the reincarnation immortal seed, the 6 paths of reincarnation fist, and the paragon bone in his chest had a reincarnation divine power. He was very familiar with this power. So, it's the sacred reincarnation constitution. After probing Wang Chuan's aura, Jun Xiaoyao understood. This was also a powerful constitution. It was ranked in the top 50 of the 3,000 constitutions. It was very high. Rumor had it that there was once a peerless powerhouse with the sacred reincarnation constitution who became a great emperor. With a raise of his hand, he could pull a world into endless reincarnation and annihilate billions of lives in an instant. But Jun Xiaoyao was not afraid. He was even a little happy, because he felt that if the paragon bone wanted to transform into a complete reincarnation divine power, Wang Chuan might be an opportunity. Chapter 258. Previously, Jun Xiaoyao had devoured Qin Hao's innate spirit bone after Nirvana. However, the second ability of his supreme bone still hadn't evolved. It was still missing an opportunity. And now, the opportunity had come. Jun Xiaoyao's chest, the supreme bone shone, and the black and white reincarnation nirvana light was refined. Seeing the black and white brilliance, Forget Chuan's expression finally changed. Supreme bone ability. Forget Chuan's heart trembled. Just the sacred body of the ancients was enough to shock everyone. Now with the addition of the supreme bone, his talent was simply amazing. No wonder Xiao Maxian was so naggy before, saying how strong Jun Xiaoyao was. Forget Chuan didn't think much of it at that time, but now he experienced it. What surprised him even more was that Jun Xiaoyao's supreme bone also had the power of reincarnation. Fortunately, Forget Chuan had the sacred body of reincarnation, so he didn't have to be too afraid of the power of reincarnation. Next, Forget Chuan also made his move, using the power of reincarnation to resist. The two of them immediately engaged in a fierce battle. Forget Chuan's realm was the Nirvana realm, far higher than Jun Xiaoyao's. However, he couldn't suppress Jun Xiaoyao. For a genius like Jun Xiaoyao, fighting beyond his realm was as easy as eating and drinking. In the fight between the two, Jun Xiaoyao didn't use any of his trump cards. Instead, he was familiarizing himself with Forget Chuan's power of reincarnation. He wanted to get the opportunity and inspiration from Forget Chuan to completely transform his supreme bone. Forget Chuan also saw through Jun Xiaoyao's intentions at a glance. He said coldly, "You want to use me as a whetstone to transform your supreme bone's reincarnation ability?" Jun Xiaoyao smiled and didn't say anything. Even if Forget Chuan knew his intentions, so what? Could he just give up? Forget Chuan's expression was cold. He couldn't bear to become someone else's whetstone. Therefore, Forget Chuan used his trump card. Behind him, a blurry phantom of a wheel appeared. In an instant, the world was in chaos, and the endless power of reincarnation spread. Seeing this, Li Daoxuan's eyes were filled with fear. Just now, Wang Chuan had relied on that illusory wheel to injure him. But now, the river of forgetfulness was not simply summoning a shadow, but had completely refined his divine weapon. A roulette completely appeared behind him. As the wheel spun, it was as if it could crush the heavens and earth. On the roulette, there were carvings of the 6 paths of life. That's... Jun Xiaoyao's eyes narrowed. That roulette actually possessed a trace of the charm of an imperial armament. The divine weapon Wang Chuan had summoned was none other than the reincarnation demon sect's imperial weapon, a replica of the 6 paths of reincarnation disc. Although the lesser 6 paths of reincarnation disc couldn't be compared to the real 6 paths of reincarnation disc, it was still a supreme weapon. Back then, Wang Chuan was the strongest prodigy of the reincarnation sect. That was why the reincarnation sect had bestowed the minor 6 paths of reincarnation disc to him as a personal weapon. When Wang Chuan summoned the minor 6 paths of reincarnation disc, he was like a tiger that had grown wings. The power of reincarnation rampaged through the heavens and earth. This aura even affected Ji Qing, Yi, Xiao Maxian, Jiang Luoli, Yu, and the others. They all felt an extreme sense of danger, as if they would be pulled into reincarnation in the next moment. So strong, Li Daoxuan's expression was somewhat ugly, and his eyes were filled with extreme fear. He had to admit that in terms of accumulation, he was completely incomparable to Wang Chuan, Jun Xiaoyao, and the others. At most, he could only be considered a nouveau riche. Big Brother Xiaoyao, feeling the aura of the minor 6 paths of reincarnation disc, Jiang Luoli's pretty face changed slightly. However, when she thought of Jun Xiaoyao's invincible appearance that swept through everything, her heart slowly calmed down. In this world, no one of the same generation as Jun Xiaoyao had appeared yet. Even an ancient freak couldn't suppress Jun Xiaoyao. Seeing Wang Chuan bring the minor 6 paths of reincarnation disc over to suppress him, Jun Xiaoyao revealed a faint smile. Wang Chuan was simply a good person. His actions were undoubtedly helping Jun Xiaoyao understand the true meaning of reincarnation. Jun Xiaoyao didn't use Pan Huang's 3 swords because he still needed to comprehend it. Therefore, Jun Xiaoyao took out the Saint King Annihilation Overlord glove and wore it on his right hand. He punched out, bringing with it tens of thousands of golden divine lights. Dragon and elephant phantoms burst forth, accompanying him from left and right, pushing through the void for tens of thousands of miles. Clang! The gloves mixed with purple divine marks collided with the minor 6 paths of reincarnation disc, bursting out with astonishing fluctuations that swept through heaven and earth. Jun Xiaoyao blocked Wang Chuan's attack, while comprehending the true meaning of reincarnation. There was nothing better to comprehend the true meaning of reincarnation than fighting against the reincarnation Saint Physique. The light in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes became brighter and brighter. A blazing brilliance began to coil around his chest, and the true meaning of reincarnation spread out. Jun Xiaoyao, don't even think about it. Wang Chuan's expression turned cold when he saw Jun Xiaoyao using him to sharpen his blade. He controlled the 6 paths of reincarnation disc and unleashed an extremely powerful attack. 6 paths of reincarnation, complete destruction of heaven and earth. Rumble. The 6 paths of reincarnation disc covered the heavens, obliterating the void as it pressed down on Jun Xiaoyao. One had to admit that Wang Chuan was very strong. As an ancient freak, his strength was actually not much weaker than Zulong's Princess Longji. It was just that his aura had yet to completely merge with the current aura of heaven and earth, so he couldn't fully unleash his strength. Even so, that might was enough to make one tremble in fear. Seeing the minor six paths of reincarnation disc pressing down on him, Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were calm, and his expression was calm. He punched out, using his supreme fist technique, the six paths of reincarnation fist. Six terrifying reincarnation vortexes appeared, as if all living beings of the six paths were sitting cross-legged. The fist light shocked the world, exploding heaven and earth, with the addition of 7.3 billion kilograms of divine power. This punch was simply too powerful. Boom! Accompanied by a violent explosion, the minor six paths of reincarnation disc, which was the size of an island in the sky, was directly sent flying. Wang Chuan was also affected. The blood in his chest churned, and his expression was filled with shock. That fist technique that contained the power of reincarnation made him very envious, while at the same time he was shocked. Blazing brilliance appeared on Jun Xiaoyao's chest. He took out the reincarnation fairy seed again. The entire reincarnation fairy seed merged with Jun Xiaoyao's supreme bone in his chest. Then, black and white brilliance burst out from Jun Xiaoyao's chest, intertwining with each other to form a wheel. Accompanied by the appearance of the black and white wheel, the void seemed to be boiling. The second great superpower of Jun Xiaoyao's supreme bone, the reincarnation disc, had finally been completely transformed. Until now, Jun Xiaoyao's supreme bone had a total of 4 great superpowers. Among the god superpowers, there was the incomplete light of God Tribulation and the complete hand of God. Among the reincarnation superpowers, there was the incomplete light of reincarnation and the complete reincarnation disc. Wang Chuan, it seems that I, the Son of God, have to thank you. Next, it's time for me, the Son of God, to repay you. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. The repayment that he spoke of was naturally not a real repayment. Now that his supreme bone had successfully transformed, he naturally did not need to be entangled with Wang Chuan anymore. He wore the Annihilation Overlord Sage King Glove and used the 6 paths of reincarnation fist. At the same time, the supreme bone in his chest released the reincarnation disc. Golden divine light surged between his eyebrows, and the Origin Emperor Dao sword broke through the air. Jun Xiaoyao used all his powerful moves to forcefully suppress Wang Chuan and seize the world's origin. Chapter 259. If Jun Xiaoyao fought seriously, his power could be imagined. Even ancient freaks would tremble in fear. For example, when Wang Chuan saw Jun Xiaoyao coming at him, his expression changed. The various divine abilities caused his expression to change drastically. He activated the minor 6 paths of reincarnation disc and forcefully resisted the 6 paths of reincarnation fist. But the supreme bone's ability, the reincarnation disc, came at him again. That power was not much weaker than the power of reincarnation displayed by the minor 6 paths of reincarnation disc. Boom, boom, boom. A violent explosion erupted, and Wang Chuan was forced to retreat. His strength had yet to return to its peak, and facing Jun Xiaoyao's full suppression, it was naturally difficult for him to completely resist. Golden divine chains of order tore through the air and turned into a golden short sword. It was the primitive Emperor Dao sword. When the sword was unleashed, it was as if it had split open the void and pierced towards Wang Chuan's head. Wang Chuan activated the power of reincarnation, and many reincarnation vortexes appeared on the surface of his body, suppressing and wearing down the primitive Emperor Dao sword. Jun Xiaoyao extended the demon wings behind his back, and with a flap of his wings, he flew toward Wang Chuan at extreme speed. He grabbed the void with one hand, and the spear of the underworld condensed and pierced toward Wang Chuan. Wang Chuan raised his hand and slapped, and the power of reincarnation surged. This was one of his most powerful abilities, called the Great Reincarnation Palm, and it suppressed everything. Boom! The Great Reincarnation Palm collided with the spear of the underworld and directly shattered it. Jun Xiaoyao once again used the devouring god demonic technique, and a pitch-black devouring vortex appeared and directly devoured the Great Reincarnation Palm. Then, Jun Xiaoyao swept his leg toward Wang Chuan. Wang Chuan blocked with his arm. It was a loud bang. Wang Chuan was sent flying, and he spat out a small mouthful of blood. You should be proud to be able to withstand so many moves from me. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm as he suppressed again. Wang Chuan missed the opportunity to take the initiative. He retreated one step, then another. After a series of moves, Wang Chuan kept coughing up blood, and his black hair was messy. Jun Xiaoyao raised his hand and grabbed out. The suction force of the god, devouring demonic art, erupted, forcibly pulling the world's origin out of the river of forgetfulness. In an instant, 2 balls of world origin were pulled out, emitting a powerful origin power. Damn it! Wang Chuan's expression darkened. In his era, he had defeated all his enemies and had never tasted defeat. No matter how strong the heaven's favorite was, the most they could do was tie with him. It could be said that Wang Chuan had never been in such a sorry state before, although part of the reason was that he had yet to recover to his peak state. However, Wang Chuan faintly felt that even if he recovered to his peak condition, he might not be able to suppress Jun Xiaoyao. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was about to reach out and grab the 2 balls of world origin, a chaotic palm print came crashing down. Ah, idiot! Jun Xiaoyao struck out with a backhand punch, directly dispersing the chaotic palm print. Li Daoxuan's eyes burned with passion as he looked at the 2 world essences. In a flash, he was about to snatch them. For him, the strongest and most heaven-defying sun, the world origins were more important than anything else. If he could gather all the 10 realms' origins, he would become a heaven-defying king. By then, no legendary heaven's favorite would be able to compare to him. So after seeing these 2 balls of world origins, Li Daoxian could not hold back and wanted to snatch them no matter what. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were cold. With a raise of his hand, dragon qi erupted, and a lifelike true dragon rushed toward Li Daoxian. It was the true dragon heaven imprisonment technique. Seeing this, Li Daoxian pushed his chaos origin power to the extreme. With a punch, countless chaos qi exploded in the void. Every wisp of chaos qi could crush a mountain. Boom! The moves collided, and the sky fell and the earth cracked. That powerful rebounding force made Li Daoxian retreat repeatedly. Even Wang Chuan, an ancient freak, could not block Jun Xiaoyao's attack, let alone Li Daoxian, who had a weaker foundation. Even if he was blessed with luck and extraordinary talent, it also depended on who he was facing. In front of a supreme heaven's favorite like Jun Xiaoyao, who had a cheat, Li Daoxuan's cheat was nothing at all. Since you've delivered yourself to me, then I, son of God, won't be polite. Jun Xiaoyao activated the god-swallowing demon art again, wanting to extract the 3 world origins from Li Daoxuan's body. No, Fairy Qing, help me. Li Daoxian felt a terrifying suction force that wanted to suck out the world origins from his body. Finally, a trace of fear appeared on his face. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao was like a supreme ruler that ruled over everything. No one could resist him. On the other side, Ji Qing felt very tired as she saw Li Daoxian in such a sorry state. It was not easy to recruit the strongest heaven-defying son. In the end, he was a fool who overestimated himself. Ji Qing was also helpless. Moreover, Jiang Luoli was also pestering her, making it impossible for her to help Li Daoxian. Therefore, Ji Qing could only sigh and say, "Brother Xiaoyao, I wonder if you can show mercy?" Hearing this, Xiao Maxian was surprised to the extreme. She knew very well how cold and arrogant her mortal enemy was. She looked down on ordinary peerless geniuses, let alone showing weakness like this. Perhaps only in front of Jun Xiaoyao would Ji Qing lower herself. Jun Xiaoyao's expression did not change. If there were other male geniuses, hearing Ji Qing Yi's request to show weakness, they would most likely be soft-hearted and show mercy. But Jun Xiaoyao was different. He had to obtain the 10 Realms World Origins. Even putting aside the 10 Realms World Origins, Li Daoxian had snatched Yin Qingying's Darkness Immortal Seed and had already formed a grudge. If he did not kill such a person, was he going to keep him alive for the new year? Therefore, Jun Xiaoyao turned a blind eye to Ji Qingyi's request. He did not even bother to reply. He punched out, divine power surging, and a golden divine elephant came crashing down. Puff! All the bones in Li Daoxuan's body shattered. He spat out blood, and his eyeballs seemed to be squeezed out. Jun! Xiao! Yao! Li Daoxian coughed up blood mixed with his shattered organs. Jun Xiaoyao showed no mercy. He raised his hand and grabbed. The three-world origins were forcefully stripped away. No! Li Daoxian roared, his eyes bloodshot. The only thing he could rely on was the world origins power. Without the world origins, he was nothing. He could not even control the power of chaos. Jun Xiaoyao stepped on Li Daoxuan's chest. The powerful vibrating force directly turned Li Daoxuan's internal organs into minced meat. The strongest heaven-defying child of the lower realms, Li Daoxian, had fallen. Seeing Li Daoxian being trampled to death by Jun Xiaoyao, all the geniuses present were silent. This kind of crushing slaughter was too shocking, and it made everyone's eyeballs pop out. Ji Qingyi shook her head helplessly. She could not fight to the death with Jun Xiaoyao because of a deadly Daoxian. That was not realistic. Jun Xiaoyao waved one hand, and the three-world origins in Li Daoxuan's body appeared. In addition, the dark immortal seed also appeared. Jun Xiaoyao directly threw it to Yin Qingying. Yin Qingying looked grateful. Finally, they're all gathered. The 10 lands of the lower realms, the 10 realms' origins, had finally fallen into Jun Xiaoyao's hands. Previously, Li Daoxian wanted to collect the 10 realms' origins and become the heaven-defying king. Now, the 10 realms' origins were in Jun Xiaoyao's hands. Jun Xiaoyao's aptitude was already unparalleled. If he were to be augmented with the power of the origin of the 10 realms, it would mean that all the power and fortune of the unparalleled king would be bestowed upon him. Then, what kind of heaven-defying existence would Jun Xiaoyao become? He would probably become an anomaly in the world, a heaven-defying existence that even the heavens could not tolerate. Chapter 260. At this time, the 5 world sources within Jun Xiaoyao's body also involuntarily appeared. For a time, the world sources of the lower realm's 10 worlds all revolved around Jun Xiaoyao. In contrast, Jun Xiaoyao was like a transcendent divine king, an immortal king of the immortal world. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao was like the only god in the heavens and earth. The scene before them was deeply engraved in the eyes of everyone present, let alone the lower realm elites. All of them froze where they were, as if they had been petrified. Even their breathing seemed to stop. Even Ji Qingyi, Xiao Maxian, and the other saintesses of the immortal sects who were used to such grand scenes felt a faint sense of suffocation. This was because Jun Xiaoyao's aura was far too transcendent at this time. Forget Creek's eyes were dignified like never before. His invincible Dao heart was also covered with a shadow. This was normal. If it were anyone else, they would have been sealed away for countless years. After being reborn, they would have thought that they would be able to sweep away all the geniuses of their generation. But not long after coming out, they would suffer a heavy blow. If it were anyone else, their Dao heart would be affected and they wouldn't be able to remain calm. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes swept over Forget Creek, Ji Qingyi, and Xiao Maxian. Forget Creek was on high alert, her eyes dignified. Ji Qingyi gently sighed. She didn't continue fighting with Jiang Luoli to express her attitude. As for Xiao Maxian, she also gave up on fighting. Jun Xiaoyao was far stronger than she had imagined, far more monstrous than she had imagined. Little big brother Xiaoyao, I haven't offended you too much, so please don't attack me. I'm still young and my body is weak. I can't withstand such intense devastation. Xiao Maxian pitifully blinked her eyes, beginning to show weakness. Jiang Luoli glared at Xiao Maxian. Why did she feel that there was something wrong with these words? Seeing Jiang Luoli glare at her, Xiao Maxian revealed a mischievous grin and glared back at Jiang Luoli. The two Lolas glared at each other, not liking each other at all. Jun Xiaoyao didn't care about Xiao Maxian. Instead, he looked towards Forget Creek. The only one present who was hostile towards him was probably Wang Chuan. Wang Chuan's figure unconsciously retreated a couple steps, her expression extremely guarded, her expression as calm as water. Although he really wanted to obtain the origin of the 10 realms from Jun Xiaoyao, he knew that it was simply unrealistic. Even if he recovered to his peak state, it would not be an easy task to suppress Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. Indeed, he wanted to end this once and for all and get rid of the river of forgetfulness. Right at this moment, the martyr's altar in the distance seemed to have undergone some sort of change due to the simultaneous appearance of the quintessence of the 10 worlds. An unusual aura emerged. The martyr's altar is changing, Jun Xiaoyao muttered. He was very decisive and directly flew towards the heroic spirit altar. The heroic spirit altar was the most important matter. In comparison, dealing with the river of forgetfulness was not that important. In any case, he could not do anything. Moreover, one couldn't forget that Jun Xiaoyao still had a chance to sign in at the martyr's altar. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao fly towards the martyr's altar, Yu, Yan Qingying, and Jiang Luoli also followed close behind. Ji Qingyi hesitated for a moment, and then also turned into a blue beam of light that flew over. Xiao Maxian's eyes turned. She winked at Forget Creek, and then also flew towards the martyr's altar. Forget Creek was a bit hesitant, but wasn't the greatest lucky chance that he had slumbered in the lower realms? It was impossible for him to give up. After making up his mind, Forget Creek also flew over. Then, the surrounding proud children of heaven swarmed towards the martyr's altar. It was only when they approached the martyr's altar that Jun Xiaoyao discovered something. Just how ancient and grand was this altar? Looking around, it was like an ancient mountain, towering and majestic, exuding an ancient and desolate aura. And what was most shocking was that on top of the altar, there were endless white skeletons. Even after so many years, these skeletons were still as hard as iron. Some of the skeletons were as warm as jade, and some of them were as radiant as gold. From this, it could be seen that these skeletons were all extremely powerful individuals with special constitutions when they were alive. But they had all perished on the martyr's altar. From this, it could be seen that this was a land of lucky chances as well as a burial ground. Jun Xiaoyao stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He sighed and said, "Time is like a blade that cuts down proud children of heaven. On the road to immortality, if one doesn't affirm their Tao and become an emperor, they will become nothing more than a skeleton." Countless heroes from ancient times to modern times had all been laughed at. This martyr's altar was only a miniature version of that. Compared to this place, the emperor's road was far crueler. That was a true road, paved with corpses. Only a true, peerless, proud child of heaven could reach the end. Hearing Jun Xiaoyao's sigh, Jiang Luoli, Yu, and the others were also touched. Jun Xiaoyao did not hesitate and directly stepped onto the martyr's altar. The moment he stepped onto the first step, the entire altar surged with wind and clouds. It was as if countless silhouettes of ancient heroes had appeared, and all kinds of scenes were revealed. The aura here became extremely special. Countless demonic sounds pierced one's ears and disturbed one's mind. Jun Xiaoyao was not affected. He concealed his spirit and qi and began to step onto the altar. Following his footsteps, Jiang Luoli, Yu, and Yan Qingying also stepped onto the altar. When they saw Jun Xiaoyao step onto the altar step by step, they thought it would not be a difficult task. However, when they really stepped onto the altar, Jiang Luoli, Yu, and the others' expressions changed. That terrifying pressure almost made them kneel on the ground. At the same time, there were countless silhouettes of ancient heroes disturbing them. Demonic sounds pierced their ears and disturbed their minds, making it difficult for them to completely calm down. Is it that terrifying? Jiang Luoli's face paled. She hurriedly stimulated her primordial spirit Tao body and felt a little better. However, the more this was so, the more it contrasted with Jun Xiaoyao's peerless and transcendent aura. Jun Xiaoyao stepped onto the altar step by step. Although he wasn't fast, he wasn't slow either. He maintained his own rhythm. Is it that exaggerated? Xiao Maxian muttered as she saw the performance of Jiang Luoli, Yu, and the others. She didn't believe this and also stepped onto the altar. The moment she took a step forward, her pure and charming little face instantly changed color. She staggered and nearly fell flat on her face. Seeing Xiao Maxian's performance, Ji Qingyi and Forget Chuan had prepared themselves in advance. But as they stepped onto the altar, they couldn't help but pale. Just as they stepped onto the martyr's altar, there was already such a terrifying pressure. It was hard to imagine how strong that pressure would become in the future. Ji Qingyi turned her gaze back to Jun Xiaoyao, who was walking with steady steps and a calm expression on his face. Sometimes, the disparity between people was reflected in this. Jun Xiaoyao, in this world, is there anything that can stump you or move you? Ji Qingyi sighed inwardly. To be born in the same era as a peerless proud son of heaven like Jun Xiaoyao, this was both a blessing and a sorrow. What was fortunate was that the proud sons of heaven of this era were able to personally witness the birth of a living legend. What was sorrowful was that the proud sons of heaven of this era could only forever live in the shadow of this legend, like an unremarkable star beside the sun. Chapter 261. The entire martyr spirit altar had 1,000 steps. Every time one climbed a step, the pressure would increase, and there would be all sorts of disturbances. At the moment, Jun Xiaoyao was the only one who was able to maintain a constant speed without stopping. As for Ji Qingyi, River of Forgetfulness, Xiao Maxian, Jiang Luoli, Yu, Yin Qingying, and the others, they were slowly climbing up. They might even need to rest in between. As for those remaining, they were the other proud children of heaven. It was impossible for them to let go of this lucky chance. However, Ji Qingyi, River of Forgetfulness, Jiang Luoli, and Yin Qingying were either saintesses of large sects, ancient freaks, noble daughters of aristocratic families, or heaven-defying children. In comparison, the remaining proud children of heaven were far too weak. Stepping onto the martyr spirit altar was as difficult as climbing a mountain. There were even some proud children of heaven who couldn't control their emotions. They began to crazily laugh and cry, as if they had gone mad. These were the phantoms of the ancient heroes, as well as the demonic sounds that filled their ears, causing them to go crazy. There were many proud children of heaven like this. Besides a small number of proud children of heaven with firm wills, most of them couldn't hold on any longer and began to go crazy. Ha ha! I'm a number one person since ancient times. Who can defeat me? A proud child of heaven crazily laughed. But in the next moment, his head exploded like a watermelon. The scene was bloody to the extreme. I got it. I obtained the immortal inheritance. Another proud child of heaven's eyes turned blood red, revealing an ecstatic expression. But in the next moment, it was like he had been struck by lightning. He fell to the ground and lost all signs of life. This was extremely strange, causing many people's hair to stand on end. Some proud children of heaven paled. They couldn't help but feel fear in their hearts and wanted to retreat from the altar. But to their horror, they discovered that they couldn't turn back. At this time, at the top of the altar, an ancient and ethereal voice seemed to faintly echo out. Once the bow is drawn, there is no turning back. There is no turning back on the road of proving one's Tao. Hearing this voice, the proud children of heaven felt extreme regret. If they knew that the martyr spirit altar was so strange, they definitely wouldn't have stepped onto it so easily. But now, they had no other choice. They could only brace themselves and go up. If he really couldn't ascend, he would sit cross-legged on the spot and comprehend, hoping to gain some benefits. The Sky Prides looked at Jun Xiaoyao, who was standing at the front with envy in their eyes. Jun Xiaoyao had completely exceeded their imaginations. Perhaps he was the synonym of strength. When Wang Chuan saw this scene, she felt unreconciled. As an ancient freak, he naturally had his own pride. Since he might not be able to defeat Zhang Xian in a fight, how could he not be able to defeat Zhang Xian on the altar? The River of Forgetfulness activated the power of the reincarnation sacred body. At the same time, the 6 paths of reincarnation disc appeared behind her. His aura immediately changed. Like a valiant true dragon, he began to speed up. Wang Chuan's actions also attracted the attention of others. Ji Qing shook her head. In her eyes, Wang Chuan's actions were nothing more than a battle of personal feelings. Now is not the time to play the hero. Yu and Yin Qingying sneered when they saw this. In their eyes, Jun Xiaoyao was an invincible existence. Wang Chuan wanted to win back some ground here, but it was obviously a little naive. However, at this moment, Jun Xiaoyao suddenly stopped in his tracks. This made many people look at him with strange expressions. Jun Xiaoyao maintained his position as number one all the while, leaving everyone else far behind. But now he suddenly stopped in his tracks. It was puzzling. Finally can't hold on any longer? Wang Chuan's eyes flashed. In her opinion, Jun Xiaoyao's previous performance was probably just him holding on. After holding on for so long, he finally couldn't take it anymore. Just as the others were either surprised, puzzled, or worried. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, had a look of delight in his eyes. The reason why he stopped was naturally not because he couldn't hold on any longer, as Wang Chuan thought. Instead, a system notification sounded in his mind. Host has reached the sign-in location, the Altar of Heroes. Do you want to sign in? Sign in, Jun Xiaoyao said silently. He didn't know what good things he could get by signing in at the Altar of Heroes. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 7-star reward. 2. She Ancient Emperor Flame. As the system's voice fell, in Jun Xiaoyao's body, a fire seed suddenly appeared. This fire seed was colorful, as if it was formed by countless divine flames, emitting a terrifying aura that could burn all the worlds. 2. She Ancient Emperor Flame? Jun Xiaoyao was surprised at first, then he was happy. The importance of a fire seed to a cultivator was not much less than that of an immortal seed, because after the Tao integration realm was the Nirvana realm. And the most important thing in the Nirvana realm was to find a fire seed, Nirvana oneself, and turn the divine palace true spirit into a small primordial spirit. This was a comprehensive transformation from the physical body to the soul level, and it was a crucial step in cultivation. And the importance of a fire seed could be seen. The stronger the fire seed, the more it could completely transform the cultivator and be reborn from the ashes. Previously, you had obtained a rare Xianyang divine fire, which was already an extremely high-grade fire seed. However, that Xianyang divine fire could not be compared to the 2 She Ancient Emperor Flame in front of him. That was because that was a divine fire, and this was an imperial fire. The 2 She Ancient Emperor Flame seemed to be the strongest imperial fire formed by gathering all kinds of flames, and it could bring the cultivator the ultimate nirvana. Of course, the difficulty of nirvana would also be greatly increased. What a coincidence! I only wanted to break through to the Tao integration realm on the Altar of Heroes, but now it seems that I might be able to break through to the nirvana realm directly. Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled into a faint smile. Even the Jun family, there was probably no fire seed of a higher grade than the 2 She Ancient Emperor Flame. This fire seed was the most suitable for Jun Xiaoyao to achieve nirvana. Brother Xiaonao, are you okay? Seeing that Jun Xiaoyao had been standing still in the same place. Even Jiang Luoli, who was very confident in him, felt a little nervous and could not help but call out to him. Jun Xiaoyao came back to his senses and finally moved. However, this time he did not climb alone. Instead, he waved his hand. The terrifying golden blood of the sacred body of the ancients swept out, resisting the terrifying pressure of the Altar of Heroes. When Jun Xiaoyao released his aura, Jiang Luoli, Yu, and Yin Qingying were surprised to find that the pressure on them had decreased by more than half. Jiang Luoli was stunned at first, and then her eyes shone with unprecedented brilliance. Her climbing speed increased, and the gap between her and the others widened. Yu and Yin Qingying also looked happy. They cupped their hands at Jun Xiaoyao and said, "Thank you, young master." After saying that, they also increased their speed. Seeing this, Wang Chuan's heart shook violently. Her entire body seemed to have turned into wood. Jun Xiaoyao was monstrous by himself, and now he could even take others with him. Was there any justice in this world? Even Xiao Maxian was left dumbfounded. Just a moment ago, Jiang Luoli was on the same level as her, but now she had left her far behind. Xiao Maxian could not accept this. The difference was too great. As the saintess of the celestial demon cult, her status and strength were not inferior to Jiang Luoli's. But now, she was lagging behind. She felt very unbalanced. Thinking of this, Xiao Maxian cried out, "Little brother Xiaoyao, take me with you." Jun Xiaoyao ignored this demoness. Don't be fooled by her pure and charming appearance. As the saintess of the celestial demon cult, she had cheated many people. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao's indifference, Xiao Maxian said something shocking again. "Little brother Xiaoyao, don't ignore me. I live well and can do any position." Chapter 262. Hearing Xiao Maxian's words, a cold sweat dripped down everyone's foreheads. The saintess of the demonic celestial cult really dared to say anything. However, Xiao Maxian's personality was like that. Although she looked pure and pretty, she had a kind of charm. She didn't have any scruples when driving. It could be said that she was completely different from Jiang Luoli. Jiang Luoli didn't know what she meant by good posture. However, combined with Xiao Maxian's charming and innocent face, she knew that it was definitely not something serious. She spat and said, "You witch, what are you saying to harass big brother Xiaoyao? Jiang Luoli, are you deliberately pretending not to understand?" Xiao Maxian laughed unscrupulously. "You, humph, don't you dare do anything to big brother Xiaoyao." Jiang Luoli was angry and her cheeks were red. Some of Xiao Maxian's special knowledge was a blank to her. She didn't understand at all. No way, no way. You're obviously so close to big brother Xiaoyao. Don't tell me that you really haven't done anything with big brother Xiaoyao. Xiao Maxian pretended to be surprised and said sarcastically, "You." Even if Jiang Luoli didn't understand this, she still understood what she meant when she heard this sentence. Her face was as red as an apple, but she couldn't say a word. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm. This little witch was even better at driving than him. However, looking at Xiao Maxian's body, she was about the same as Jiang Luoli. "Sorry, I'm not interested." Jun Xiaoyao continued to lead Jiang Luoli and the others up the mountain. "Big brother Xiaoyao, I know you have the sacred body of the ancients and are full of energy. Jiang Luoli alone can't satisfy you. I can also serve you well." Xiao Maxian said unscrupulously, trying to seduce Jun Xiaoyao with her words. Even Jun Xiaoyao was speechless. He admitted that he had the sacred body of the ancients and the divine treasure of the kidney was exceptionally strong. But was he that kind of person? Is that so? Is that so? Jun Xiaoyao ignored him. As Xiao Maxian saw their backs gradually climb up, she stomped her feet in anger. Rather than relying on unorthodox methods, I might as well rely on myself. Ji Qingyi's gaze was calm as she continued to climb. "That's right, big sister White Lotus, you're the purest." Xiao Maxian mocked. Ji Qingyi shook her head and ignored him. She was well aware of her opponent's personality, so she didn't argue. Forget Chuan found it hard to remain calm. Jun Xiaoyao's performance had refreshed his understanding of evildoers. It could be said that if Jun Xiaoyao had lived in his era, he would have been the most dazzling heaven's favorite. However, Wang Chuan was still an ancient freak of the samsara demon sect. His temperament was far from Li Daoshuan's. Soon, he adjusted his state of mind and began to climb silently. For the time being, the heroic spirit altar remained calm. Now, there were very few people who could persevere on the altar. These heaven's favorites either died in madness or were stuck in place, unable to take a single step forward. Jun Xiaoyao was still in the lead. Not only that, but he also brought along Jiang Luoli, Yu, and Yin Qingying. This was equivalent to Jun Xiaoyao withstanding the pressure of 4 people. Behind him were Ji Qingyi, forget Chuan, Xiao Maxian, and the others. Finally, there were a few scattered heavens favorites who were still persevering. And the higher they went, the stronger the pressure became. Of course, the faint Tao rhythm also became thicker and thicker. Finally, when they reached the 800th step, Yin Qingying was the first to speak. "Young master, Qingying should stop here." Yin Qingying's originally fair face was now even paler. It was clear that she had reached her limit. Although Yin Qingying was the successor of the god-swallowing demon art and had swallowed the essence of the immortal region's elites, she was still a heaven's favorite from the lower realms. She had only grown for a short period of time, and her foundation was lacking. In fact, if she relied on her own strength, it would already be very good if she could reach the 600th step. Now, she could only reach the 800th step because of Jun Xiaoyao's protection. All right then, cultivate well here. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly and did not force her. Going too far was as bad as falling short. If he forced Yin Qingying to continue climbing, it would not be good for her cultivation. Yin Qingying nodded. She took out the darkness immortal seed and began to refine and comprehend it. She was confident that she could break through on the hero spirit altar. Then, when they reached the 950th step, Jiang Luoli and Yu also stopped. They could no longer advance. Jun Xiaoyao also did not force them and began to climb alone. After reaching the 950th step and above, with each step, the pressure would almost double. Not only that, but the ancient heroic spirits manifested in the void also began to attack. A firebird spirit opened its mouth and spat out scarlet flames. There was also a creature that looked like a centipede that charged over from the void. An ancient hero spirit threw the sky-piercing divine spear at Jun Xiaoyao. These hero spirits were all living beings that had died on the hero spirit altar. They were jealous of Jun Xiaoyao and stopped him from continuing to climb up. Jun Xiaoyao sent them flying with a palm strike. The golden palm print swept through everything. All the hero spirits collapsed in front of him. Ji Qingyi and Xiao Maxian also stopped at the 95th step in the end. On the other hand, the river of forgetfulness continued to climb. The small 6 paths of reincarnation disk behind him was spinning. The power of his reincarnation's sacred constitution was also pushed to the extreme. He was unwilling. As an ancient freak, he did not want to be defeated like this and be defeated by the current generation's prodigies. However, the closer he got to the last few dozen steps, the more terrifying the pressure was. At this step, even the ancient freak, the river of forgetfulness, could only move up step by step. In the end, the river of forgetfulness stopped at the 970th step and could not take another step. To be honest, this performance was already very good. Since ancient times, less than 1% of the prodigies that entered the crack of the 10 realms could reach the 800th step and above. Less than 1 in 1,000 could reach the 900th step. Looking at Jun Xiaoyao, who was still moving forward, the river of forgetfulness finally lowered his head. He had lost to Jun Xiaoyao again. Be it in terms of strength, will, or talent, he was nowhere near as good as Jun Xiaoyao. Even if he recovered to his peak state, he would not be able to change this fact. Is he going to reach the top of the hero spirit altar? The river of forgetfulness's eyes were trembling. The top of the hero spirit altar was a forbidden area that almost no one could set foot on. And he knew one thing. If he wanted to open up his own path, he had to reach the top of the altar. This was because only at the top of the hero spirit altar could Jun Xiaoyao receive all the blessings of the lower realms. In addition, with the help of the 10 realms origin, perhaps only then could Jun Xiaoyao have a slight chance of opening up a path that no one had taken before. Jun Xiaoyao is actually so ambitious. The river of forgetfulness took a deep breath. He found it hard to imagine that Jun Xiaoyao, who was already a monstrously talented and powerful, would be so ambitious. If he could open up his own path, how bright would his future be? Even becoming an emperor would not be the end of Jun Xiaoyao's journey. Chapter 263. After the 950th step of the martyr's altar, every step felt more difficult than the previous 950th step combined. Even the ancient freak Wang Chuan could only regretfully stop at the 970th step. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, did not stop moving. The more Jun Xiaoyao was forgotten, the more pressure he felt. All sorts of heroic spirits were manifested as well, intending to stop him. It could be said that since ancient times, not many people had been able to overcome such a difficult obstacle, because it was too difficult. Even the ancient freaks could only admit defeat in front of such a difficult obstacle. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were cold, and his face was calm. The pressure of the martyr's altar didn't pose much of a problem to him. However, some of the heroic spirits wanted to kill his sacred palace true spirit and seize his physical body. Then again, it did make sense. If Jun Xiaoyao were one of the heroic spirits imprisoned there was a high chance that he would want to possess such a perfect physical body. Jun Xiaoyao's counterattack was very simple in the face of those heroic spirits' attempts to seize his body. He directly refined the chaotic divine grindstone. The terrifying chaotic divine grindstone crushed the heavens. This was a supreme soul attack, and it was extremely lethal to the heroic spirits. No matter how powerful those ancient heroic spirits were, they could only crumble into nothingness under the crushing pressure of Jun Xiaoyao's chaotic divine grindstone. Eventually, Jun Xiaoyao stepped onto the 999th floor, one step at a time. He took a step forward and stepped onto the last floor. There was a loud bang. The entire altar of heroes began to tremble. Countless heroic spirit phantoms appeared in the surrounding void. Their numbers were like a swarm of locusts. It could be said that even the ancient freak Wang Chuan could be instantly killed in the face of such a terrifying attack from the heroic spirits. This was not giving Jun Xiaoyao any chance of survival at all. They wanted to completely cut off his path of advancement. Big Brother Xiaoyao, Jiang Luoli, and the others below were extremely nervous when they saw this. They were confident in Jun Xiaoyao. However, the overwhelming number of heroic spirits was no longer something that the sky prides of the younger generation could handle. Every single one of the heroic spirits had once been a peerless genius, a transcendent being. As far as the eye could see, there were over 10,000 heroic spirits appearing at the same time. Who in the younger generation could defend against the attacks of more than 10,000 heaven's favorites? It's too terrifying. No one has been able to pass through this stage. Wang Chuan shook her head slightly when she saw this scene. To be honest, he had a trace of admiration for Jun Xiaoyao. If he didn't die, Jun Xiaoyao would probably be the most brilliant genius of this era. Little big brother Xiaoyao is in trouble now. What a pity. I haven't been able to test his strength yet. Xiao Maxin shook her head, a look of pity on her face. In her opinion, it would be very difficult for Jun Xiaoyao to survive this tribulation. Ji Qingyi glanced at it and tried to figure it out. However, Jun Xiaoyao seemed to always create miracles. The secret treasure of Yuan Tian was like that, and so was the Heaven Dao Tower. Therefore, before the results were confirmed, any guesses could be overturned. Faced with over 10,000 heroic spirits, ordinary sky prides would probably wet their pants in fear. However, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was indifferent. He stomped his foot, and the phantom of 10,000 saints appeared in the void around him. It was one of the sacred body of the ancients' sacred body phenomenon, the reverence of 10,000 saints. Once the phenomenon appeared, it suppressed the world. A series of explosions sounded in the void. Many heroic spirits exploded under the pressure of this terrifying phenomenon. Even so, there were still many heroic spirits left. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was about to use his ultimate move again, the sachet on his body suddenly appeared. This? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were filled with surprise. This sachet was the token that led him into the crack of the 10 realms. Jun Xiaoyao had previously guessed that this should be a token left behind by an ancient heaven's favorite. However, at this moment, the sachet underwent a change. A special aura appeared. A beautiful silhouette materialized in the air and stood in front of Jun Xiaoyao, shielding him. When he saw this beautiful figure, Jun Xiaoyao's eyes trembled slightly. It wasn't because of how shocked he was by this beautiful figure. It was because he had seen this figure before. This beautiful figure was a woman wearing a ghost mask on her face. Her jade body was slim and slender, and her black hair fluttered in the wind. Her skin and bones were smooth, and she was as pretty as snow. This beautiful figure was very similar to the ghost mask girl that Jun Xiaoyao faced on the 49th floor of the Heaven Dao Tower. However, Compared to the ghost masked girl in the Heaven Dao Tower, this woman in front of him had a slender jade body, as if she had grown up a little and was beginning to show a peerless aura. Her again? Jun Xiaoyao frowned slightly. Why did the ghost masked girl leave footprints in the Heaven Dao Tower and the altar of heroic spirits? The red spider lily blooms in the seven-colored sky, and the flower falls to become an immortal for 1,000 years. Brother, I have waited for you in a mortal world for 1,000 years. And where are you? The ghost masked girl seemed to be murmuring, and her eyes under the mask fell on Jun Xiaoyao. Strangely, when the ghost masked girl's shadow appeared, the heroic spirits around the altar all showed great fear and moved away, avoiding the ghost masked girl as if she was a snake or a scorpion. The scene fell into a strange silence for a moment. Even Wang Chuan and the others were a little stunned. What was going on? Logically speaking, there was no chance of a comeback in this kind of predicament. However, Jun Xiaoyao had opened up a glimmer of hope. If Li Daoxian was still alive and saw this scene, he would definitely roar in anger. What was the protagonist of Heaven and Earth, the Son of Fate? This was the protagonist of Heaven and Earth, the Son of Fate. In comparison, these heaven-defying sons of the lower domain were nothing. They could not be compared to Jun Xiaoyao at all. Jun Xiaoyao himself was also a little surprised. He did not expect his luck to be so good. It was obvious that the sachet belonged to the ghost masked girl. The ghoul-masked woman looked at Jun Xiaoyao and rushed to him all of a sudden. She lifted her hand, intending to touch Jun Xiaoyao's cheek. However, she was a shadow, so she directly went through Jun Xiaoyao's face. Jun Xiaoyao's face was calm, and he was not affected by the ghost masked girl's actions. He knew that this ghost masked woman must have mistaken him for her brother. Of course, Jun Xiaoyao was also puzzled. How could the ghost masked girl's brother be as handsome as him? The ghost masked girl let out a sigh, then turned around and looked at the remaining heroic spirits. She exuded a terrifying aura and waved her hand. Endless red spider lilies bloomed in the void. The scarlet red spider lilies bloomed all over the sky. This scene was very beautiful, but at the same time, very strange. The heroic spirits' faces were all twisted, and they let out sharp screams as they turned into ashes in the red spider lilies. The ghost masked girl waved her hand and cleared the way for Jun Xiaoyao. All the heroic spirits were killed, and none of them survived. Even Jun Xiaoyao was a little speechless. Was this ghost masked girl willing to be used by him as a tool? Jun Xiaoyao did not even have to move a finger, and the ghost masked girl cleared all obstacles for him. Are you still looking for this sacred body of the ancients check-in for free? Baidu directly searched. Easy, it was very simple. =. Chapter 264. After clearing away all obstacles, the ghoul-masked woman looked back and gave Jun Xiaoyao a deep look. The look in her eyes was very complicated. There was affection, longing, and some faint doubt. Perhaps the ghoul-masked woman herself did not know whether she was lying to herself or not. Then, the ghoul-masked woman's figure faded into the void and disappeared. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm. He was happy to see it happen. Now, all obstacles had been cleared away. Jun Xiaoyao safely stepped onto the top of the altar of heroes. Since ancient times, very few people have been able to set foot on the place where he stood. Jun Xiaoyao suspected that the ghoul-masked woman might have stepped onto it. Otherwise, the other heroic spirits would not have been so afraid. However, stepping onto the top did not mean that one would be able to open up their own path. It was an almost impossible path. If it could be opened up so easily, the altar of heroes would not be filled with corpses and bones. Jun Xiaoyao looked around. There was only a simple stone platform at the top of the altar. There was also a scroll on the stone platform. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed with an inexplicable light. He had a guess. He went forward and picked up the scroll. After a brief inspection, his eyes flashed with joy. It was just as he had expected. The scroll was the second volume of the physical scripture. The 9 great heavenly scriptures were rare treasures. It was rumored that they contained the secret to becoming an immortal. Every heavenly scripture was the pinnacle of a path. The physical scripture was the pinnacle of the path of the physical body. Now, Jun Xiaoyao had the complete physical scripture and his own sacred body of the ancients. Perhaps in the future, Jun Xiaoyao would be able to defeat great emperors and suppress ancient emperors with just his physical body without using magic power. It was not a fantasy. Jun Xiaoyao only glanced at the second volume of the physical scripture. He did not look at it in detail. That was because it was not the time yet. He had not even completed the first volume of the immortal Daluo, celestial body. If he were to comprehend the second volume of the physical scripture now, it would be too hasty. The most important thing for him now was to transform his strength and open up his own path. Jun Xiaoyao stored the second volume of the body scripture into his spatial magic tool. Then he sat cross-legged on the stone platform. Suddenly, countless runes in the surroundings released light, and the entire martyr's altar seemed to have been activated. Rumble. Heaven and earth shook, and the universe trembled. Boundless spiritual energy gathered at the top of the martyr's altar. At the same time, waves of golden power of fortune that were visible to the naked eye continued to converge on Jun Xiaoyao. The martyr's altar could be seen as an auxiliary platform. However, what they really relied on was the talent, cultivation, and ability of the chosen ones themselves. Jun Xiaoyao, who was sitting cross-legged at the top of the altar, had undoubtedly benefited the most. He alone received more than 80% of the spiritual qi of heaven and earth and the power of providence. The rest of the sky prides shared the remaining 20%. Wang Chuan, Jiang Luoli, Yu, and the others also hurriedly held their breaths and began to immerse themselves in cultivation. This was a rare opportunity, and all of the chosen ones treated it with caution. Sitting cross-legged on the stone platform, Jun Xiaoyao's body was being washed by endless spiritual energy. The granules of the giant elephant instantly transformed into dragon elephant granules. Jun Xiaoyao also grasped this opportunity. The remaining 30,000 granules of the giant elephant also completely transformed into dragon elephant granules. Rumble. In Jun Xiaoyao's body, the 100,000 granules of the giant elephant were transformed into dragon elephant granules. His strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth had also made great progress. Jun Xiaoyao's entire body emitted a holy light. He couldn't help but raise his hand, and divine light gathered. It was originally supposed to transform into the underworld deity spear. But now, a golden spear filled with radiance and a holy aura appeared. The heavenly deity spear, Jun Xiaoyao murmured. The underworld deity spear before, with monstrous hellfire and the aura of hell. But now, with the breakthrough of his strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth, the underworld deity spear had transformed into the heavenly deity spear. Not only was its power several times stronger, but it also emitted a holy aura that suppressed the devils of hell. That wasn't all. The defensive technique of the strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth, the underworld deity Aegis, had also undergone a transformation. The underworld deity Aegis had transformed into a white cloak with golden edges. The cloak was embroidered with images of gods, as if the legion of gods were chanting and emitting holy light. This cloak was called the God Legion Cloak and was the defensive technique of the underworld deity Aegis. The defensive power of the God Legion Cloak was much higher than that of the underworld deity Aegis. The transformation wasn't over yet. The fiend devil wings of the strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth had washed away the devilish miasma of hell and transformed into snow-white wings of freedom. The wings of freedom represented the will of great freedom. With a pair of wings, Xiaoyao could roam the 9 heavens and 10 earths freely. The Hellfire Crucible had also transformed into the heaven and earth furnace, and its power of suppression and refinement had both been qualitatively enhanced. Other things aside, the transformation of the strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth alone was enough to make Jun Xiaoyao much stronger. The strongest spear, the heavenly deity spear, the strongest shield, the god legion cloak, the strongest speed, the wings of freedom, the strongest refinement, the heaven and earth furnace. As for the 100,000 Dracomamoth particles, they gave Jun Xiaoyao a terrifying 10 billion kilograms of God force. This was beyond the imagination of humans. It was so monstrous that it shocked everyone. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes glowed with joy. After the Dracomamoth particles came the proto-mammoth particles. However, the proto-mammoth particles didn't increase the power of the fleshly body. That was because 10 billion kilograms of God force was already the limit of this stage. Unless Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation base transformed and his life force increased, he couldn't increase his fleshly body strength without limit. The proto-mammoth particles increased the power of the soul. Every time 10,000 Dracomamoth particles transformed into 10,000 proto-mammoth particles, Jun Xiaoyao's soul power would increase by 1-fold. If all 10,000 Dracomamoth particles transformed into proto-mammoth particles, how powerful would Jun Xiaoyao's soul power be? Even Jun Xiaoyao couldn't imagine it. Furthermore, when the proto-mammoth particles transformed, the strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth would unlock another ability. Summon the gates of hell. At that time, Jun Xiaoyao would be able to summon thousands of Azuras with a wave of his hand and sweep through everything. Since the strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth is at the initial stage, why don't I transform the origin immortal bones as well? Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. He took out many immortal sources and star cores and began to refine the origin immortal bones. Before fully comprehending the Tao and opening his path, Jun Xiaoyao wanted to adjust his condition and strength to the peak. That way, he would have a greater chance of success. Jun Xiaoyao summoned the Heaven and Earth Furnace. Heaven and Earth were the furnace, creation was the worker, yin and yang were the charcoal, and all things were the copper. A crimson furnace appeared in the void, as if it could refine the sun, moon, and the universe. Jun Xiaoyao threw immortal sources and star cores into the furnace, turning them into surging energy to refine his body. Every part of his bones began to emit immortal light. The number of origin immortal bones also increased. 70 pieces, 71 pieces, 72 pieces, 100 pieces, 101 pieces, 102 pieces. Finally, he refined all the immortal sources and thousands of star cores. The number of origin immortal bones in Jun Xiaoyao's body reached 140 pieces. This meant that Jun Xiaoyao's entire body, including his torso and limbs, was covered with origin immortal bones. He was getting closer and closer to the true immortal body of the origin immortal. Are you still looking for the sacred body of the ancients? Check in for free. Baidu directly searched. Easy, very simple. =. Chapter 265. Boom. Endless immortal light spread out from Jun Xiaoyao's body. The number of origin immortal bones in his body had doubled. This was not a small number. Every piece of the immortal bone of Saint of the Great Luo would bring about a massive boost to his powers. Moreover, he had now gained 70 origin immortal bones. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's skin and bones were white and shone with divine light. He was like a banished immortal who had walked out of a painting. No one would deny that Jun Xiaoyao was an immortal. The current Jun Xiaoyao could be said to be in peak condition. Next, it's time to break through, Jun Xiaoyao murmured. His cultivation was still at the peak of the consolidation realm. It wasn't that he couldn't break through, but that he was forcefully suppressing it. Jun Xiaoyao didn't break through, but once he did, it would be like a blowout. He wouldn't just break through one realm. The so-called bottleneck didn't exist for Jun Xiaoyao at all. At least before he became a sage, Jun Xiaoyao wouldn't encounter any difficult bottlenecks. I can finally begin. Let me see how difficult it is to open up a path. Jun Xiaoyao chuckled. If other prodigies stood in Jun Xiaoyao's position, they would definitely be very serious and nervous. But Jun Xiaoyao was different. He was very relaxed and didn't have any burden at all. This was an invincible confidence that represented Jun Xiaoyao's absolute confidence. His talent was peerless, and he had the system. Even the protagonist of the world was only worthy of being an ant under his feet. Jun Xiaoyao's opponent was not other prodigies. It wasn't even God. It was himself. The only thing Jun Xiaoyao needed to do was to surpass his previous self and reach the absolute peak. Let's begin. Jun Xiaoyao took out the origin of the 10 realms. The origin of the 10 continents of heaven and earth surrounded him. Each origin of the world exuded a pure, primitive, and vigorous energy. It was the origin power of the universe that could split heaven and earth. This was an extremely mysterious and powerful ultimate energy. This was also why Jun Zhantian wanted Jun Xiaoyao to use the world origin as an immortal seed. Because in this way, Jun Xiaoyao could possibly control the universe's origin power, evolve all things, and create heaven and earth. However, not even Jun Zhantian would have thought of this. Jun Xiaoyao's ambition was too great. He was not satisfied with this at all. Instead, he wanted to gather the origins of the 10 realms and open up a path that no one had ever walked before. This path might be difficult, but if he succeeded, it would be a miraculous feat. Jun Xiaoyao's only goal at the moment was to become the most powerful being to have existed since the beginning of time. He wanted to transcend everything and reach the highest level. He wanted to reach an unprecedented level and see the scenery that no one else could see. For this ultimate goal, Jun Xiaoyao was willing to do anything. On the stone platform, Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged like a god. 10 world origins, like 10 small worlds, revolved around him. Jun Xiaoyao closed his eyes and meditated. There was no need to elaborate on his comprehension ability. When he cultivated divine powers, Jun Zhantian and even the 18th ancestor felt that they had lived for so long in vain. Jun Xiaoyao's comprehension ability was monstrous and rare since ancient times. No complicated cultivation method or divine ability could stump him. However, this time, he was not trying to comprehend any divine powers, but opening up his own path and mastering his own Tao. There was no doubt that it was difficult. Countless geniuses had fallen on this path and ended up as skeletons on the altars. Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged and meditated. Tao rhymes filled the air and immortal music sounded. The providence and spirit qi of the 10 realms gathered on Jun Xiaoyao's body. The providence of the heaven-defying king also blessed Jun Xiaoyao. First Literature Network, because he was the only person who had gathered all the world origins of the 10 realms, he was qualified to transcend everything and achieve heaven-defying feats. As Jun Xiaoyao began to meditate and transform, the other elites on the altar also had their own harvests. Yin Qingying had already refined the darkness immortal seed and stepped into the Tao integration realm. Her aura had become even deeper. Yu had refined the profound sun divine flame. The true spirit in his mind's divine palace had transformed into a tiny primordial spirit, successfully reaching the nirvana realm. Jiang Luoli, Xiao Maxian, Ji Qingyi, and the others also had their own harvests. Their cultivation realms had risen and their strength had improved. As for Wang Chuan, his harvests were also great. He was also meditating. Wang Chuan was ambitious, but he also wanted to open up his own path. Moreover, as the reincarnation saint body, he also had this opportunity. Thus, Wang Chuan was unwilling to give up. He also wanted to give it a try. Ji Qingyi and the others didn't try because they knew that now wasn't the time. If they wanted to open up their own path, this wasn't their only chance. Moreover, they weren't as heaven-defying as Jun Xiaoyao, and their accumulations weren't deep. Even if they tried, their chances of success were extremely low. Thus, seeing Wang Chuan want to meditate, Xiao Maxian and the others were surprised. The two of them are quite ambitious. Xiao Maxian muttered, "To open up a path that no one has walked before, that is far too difficult." Ji Qingyi sighed. There were so many skeletons on the altar. They were all proud children of heaven that had tried to open up their own paths, but in the end they had all died. I hope that big brother Xiaoyao can succeed. No, you must succeed. Jiang Luoli clenched her fists, cheering for Jun Xiaoyao in her heart. If it were anyone else, Jiang Luoli wouldn't believe that they had a chance of succeeding. But to Jun Xiaoyao, it seemed that there was nothing impossible. Time passed little by little. Jiang Luoli and the others weren't idling around. They continued to cultivate on the altar, trying to enhance themselves. Wang Chuan was the same, as Jun Xiaoyao. He was ambitious and wanted to open up his own path. As for the remaining proud children of heaven, besides those that had already perished, the rest had more or less obtained harvests. Of course, their attention was still on Jun Xiaoyao. After all, Jun Xiaoyao was the one and only person in history who had stepped onto the top of the altar of martyrs. Just as Jun Xiaoyao and the others were cultivating in the crack of the 10 realms, waves were stirring in the Huangtian immortal realm once again. The ancient freak of Zulong, Princess Longji, had completely entered the world and traveled the world. In just half a month, she had defeated more than a dozen saints and immortal descendants, and almost all of them were decided within 10 moves. This was no longer a spar, but an absolute suppression of strength. Therefore, Princess Longji, who was already famous, became even more famous, shaking the entire Huangtian immortal realm. Some people even shouted that Princess Longji was the strongest pride of the Huangtian immortal realm, enough to suppress the current generation. Of course, there were a few people who were dissatisfied. After all, there was the young master of the Wang family of the north, Wang Teng, and the reincarnation of the sword demon of the Yi family. Princess Longji wasn't the only ancient freak who had been buried until now. Jun Xiaoyao of the Jun family was also mentioned. Although Jun Xiaoyao had been in the lower world for a while, his reputation was still there. Many people still thought that Jun Xiaoyao could definitely fight Princess Longji. However, this attracted some mocking from the Archean royalty. Forget it. Princess Longji was able to defeat the Jun family's man with polychoria even before she recovered. Now that she's in the immortal realm, who can defeat her? That's right. Princess Longji has entered the world and challenged all the prides of the immortal realm. She hasn't lost a single time. This proves that she's invincible. Zulong was promoting Princess Longji. However, her strength was indeed worthy of such praise. The immortal realm was almost the peak of the younger generation in the Huangtian immortal realm. The next step was to ignite the divine fire and enter the 9th level of the immortal realm. Not long after, Princess Longji finally announced that she wanted to fight Jun Xiaoyao. If Jun Xiaoyao didn't want to fight, that would be admitting that the son of God of the Jun family was a coward who didn't dare to accept the challenge. This made the young people of the Jun family, who admired Jun Xiaoyao, angry. Princess Longji knew that Jun Xiaoyao hadn't returned from the lower worlds, yet she released such news. She was obviously trying to embarrass the Jun family and damage Jun Xiaoyao's reputation, just as everyone was curious about how the Jun family would respond. The sequence number 1 of the Jun family, Junling Song, stepped out and announced that he would fight Princess Longji again to protect the Jun family's reputation. This caused another uproar in the immortal realm. Chapter 266. The Huangtian mystic realm once again stirred up a storm with Princess Longji's appearance. Jun Xiaoyao, who was in the lower realm, was not affected at all. The Jun family of the ancients did not send any message for him to return. This was because Jun Zhantian knew that Jun Xiaoyao would undergo a great transformation in the lower realm. Therefore, he did not allow anyone to disturb Jun Xiaoyao. On the altar of heroes in the rift of the 10 realms, Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged, deducing and comprehending the Tao. It was as if he had been sitting cross-legged since ancient times. The origins of the 10 realms revolved around him like a great star. It was as if the moon revolved around the earth. Jun Xiaoyao did not want to use the origins of the 10 realms as a seed. He wanted to walk a unique path. His immortal seed was his own Tao. This was a different kind of using his body as a seed. Of course, this was also very difficult. If it could be done easily, so many geniuses would not have died on the altar of heroes and become skeletons. However, Jun Xiaoyao was different from the other geniuses. His foundation, his accumulation, and his Tao were incomparable to the other ancient geniuses. Jun Xiaoyao was the greatest anomaly since ancient times. His soul did not even belong to this world. As such, it was possible for Jun Xiaoyao to take such a path. Sitting cross-legged on the stone platform, the Tao of heaven and earth gathered on him, coupled with Jun Xiaoyao's own comprehension. A path filled with mist seemed to be faintly revealed. This state lasted for almost half a month. During this time, Jiang Luoli and the others woke up one after another and completed their cultivation. Each of them had made great progress. They were influenced by the Tao on the altar and comprehended a lot. Jiang Luoli had a deeper understanding of her Yuan spirit Tao body. Yu's Yishun bloodline seemed to be gradually activated. Yin Qingying also had a deep understanding of the god-devouring demonic technique. Ji Qing Yi and Xiao Maxian were also satisfied with their harvests. Their gazes simultaneously turned towards Jun Xiaoyao and Wang Chuan. Their ambitions were the greatest. Xiao Maxian glanced at Wang Chuan, her small face changing slightly as she said, "Things are a little bad." Ji Qing Yi, Jiang Luoli, and the others also looked towards the river of forgetfulness. The river of forgetfulness was filled with the power of reincarnation. The small 6 paths of reincarnation disc was also supporting him. However, his complexion was as pale as paper, as if he had encountered an enormous obstacle. After another 2 days, Wang Chuan suddenly opened her eyes and could not help but cough up a mouthful of blood. She gasped for air like a fish that had been washed ashore. His face was pale, and his eyes were filled with fear. How could it be? How could it be so terrifying? Wang Chuan muttered absent-mindedly, unable to recover for a while. He saw some kind of great terror. If he continued on that path, he would encounter a terrifying calamity. That was something he couldn't bear. In fact, Wang Chuan only felt it for a moment, and she felt as if her insides were being shattered. This was not because Wang Chuan's was not firm. As an ancient freak that had been sealed away for all eternity, how could his will be weak? But that great dark terror was like a person facing endless darkness. It was enough to make one go crazy. If I didn't stop in time, I might have died here and died. Wang Chuan gasped for breath, finding it hard to calm his heart. He finally understood why the altar was filled with piles of bones. That was simply a dead end. Looking at the palpitating Wang Chuan, Xiao Maxian, Jiang Luoli, and the others were all left speechless. Just what kind of path was this? Even an ancient freak had to return with a broken halberd. Without a doubt, Wang Chuan had failed. But he wasn't too disappointed. This was because Wang Chuan knew that this was a dead end. Wang Chuan looked up at Jun Xiaoyao, who was sitting on top of the heroic spirit altar. That's impossible. This path is a dead end. No one can walk it, including you. Wang Chuan muttered. As the reincarnation saint body, there was no need for him to take the risk of death. That was not courage, but stupidity. Thus, Wang Chuan decisively gave up. From another point of view, this could also be considered a kind of firm will. Big brother Xiaoyao, seeing even Wang Chuan fail, Jiang Luoli was even more worried. Facing this sort of path that only a few people had taken since ancient times, it was normal for Jiang Luoli to be worried. As for Jun Xiaoyao, he was actually the most indifferent. He was drawing support from the source of the 10 realms to perceive the essence of the world, the essence of the universe. This was a high level of enlightenment. Originally, it shouldn't have been something that someone of Jun Xiaoyao's level could come into contact with. Even a saint would find it extremely difficult to perceive the source of the universe. But Jun Xiaoyao was different. His ambition was unparalleled. He wanted to establish an invincible Tao foundation at the most basic stage. With the body as the seed, a Tao that belongs to me, transcending the world, Jun Xiaoyao muttered, as if he were talking in his sleep. Suddenly, his Dantian spirit seed began to shine. This was the place where the immortal seed was refined. Tao integration realm cultivators needed a Tao seed that was suitable for them. The higher the level of the Tao seed, the greater the boost it would bring to the cultivator. And Jun Xiaoyao wanted to use his body as the seed and his Tao as the foundation. This was a heaven-defying act that heaven and earth would not tolerate. Return to the source, search for the most basic mystery, and open up a path that belongs to me, Jun Xiaoyao muttered. He suddenly opened his eyes, as if he could see through the past, present, and future with a single glance. The path that was filled with thick fog finally gradually became clear before his eyes. and just as Jun Xiaoyao was about to see it clearly rumble above the firmament, there was a rumble. Wisps of flames appeared and fell like a rain of fire, falling in Jun Xiaoyao's direction. How is that possible? That's the nameless hellfire. Jiang Luoli covered her mouth and couldn't help but exclaim. The nameless hellfire was a type of calamity. Generally speaking, it would only appear when a divine fire realm cultivator broke through to the void god realm. This sort of nameless hellfire was not a true fire, but a type of sinful karma. When a divine fire realm cultivator broke through to the first step of the 9 levels of Saint Ascension, the void god realm, they would have to resist this fire. A divine fire realm cultivator would use their own divine fire to resist the nameless hellfire. If they could withstand it, then they could step into the void god realm. If they couldn't, then they would be burned to ashes by the nameless hellfire. But the problem was that Jun Xiaoyao was only breaking through to the Dao integration realm from the consolidation realm, and yet the nameless hellfire had appeared. This simply didn't make sense. It was as if the heavens wanted to bring this calamity down on Jun Xiaoyao ahead of time and destroy him. This is too terrifying. At this stage, who can withstand the burning of the nameless hellfire? Xiao Maxian's face paled. Just feeling this nameless hellfire from afar caused goosebumps to rise all over her body. This sort of terrifying flame was a flame formed from sin. Not only could it burn the body, but it could also burn the soul. It made one feel as if they had fallen into the 18 levels of hell. At this time, everyone's eyes were glued to Jun Xiaoyao. Could he withstand this? Chapter 267. Jun Xiaoyao was not surprised at all by the descent of the nameless karmic fire. In fact, this was within his expectations. Wanting to open up a path without any risk was obviously a fantasy. Jun Xiaoyao was already mentally prepared. Fighting the heavens is a joy. Jun Xiaoyao looked up at the sky, his attitude relaxed. Immortal light surged all over his body, and the power of the 140 origin immortal bones was completely activated. Dense celestial light spread out, making Jun Xiaoyao look like a celestial being who had never fallen into the mortal world. A ball of immortal light turned into a shield, enveloping Jun Xiaoyao. Furthermore, Jun Xiaoyao had also conjured all sorts of defensive measures he could think of. The azure sky, ancestral dragon armor, the cloak of the gods. Jun Xiaoyao used all the defenses he could. Boom! The nameless karmic fire fell, crashing toward Jun Xiaoyao. The terrifying temperature was enough to burn all things. Otherwise, the most terrifying thing was that this nameless karmic fire could disturb one's mind and burn one's soul. Many twisted faces appeared before Jun Xiaoyao. Long Haoqian, Yang Pan, Fahai, Lin Feng, and the others. These enemies who had died at Jun Xiaoyao's hands seemed to have become evil spirits, wanted to take his life. The nameless karmic fire was the fire of sin. All the sins that Jun Xiaoyao had committed would turn into karmic fire. But Jun Xiaoyao's expression was indifferent. Alive, you're only fit to be ants under my feet. Can you still overturn the heavens when you're dead? Jun Xiaoyao calmly guarded his mind, completely unaffected. He also did not feel that he had done anything wrong by killing so many people. A general success was built on the bones of 10,000. If Jun Xiaoyao wanted to reach the peak, he would definitely step on countless corpses. Right now, this was only a small portion. In the future, he would only kill more people. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao resist the nameless karmic fire, even Ji Qingyi, Wang Chuan, and the others were slightly stunned. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they absolutely wouldn't believe that someone could resist the tribulation of the divine flame realm at the consolidation realm. Heavens, little big brother Xiaoyao is too fierce. Xiao Maxian's eyes shined with a brilliant light. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, who would have believed it? Originally, Xiao Maxian and the others didn't think that Jun Xiaoyao would be able to walk down this road. But now, they were beginning to waver. Perhaps they would be able to witness a miracle with their own eyes. Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged on the stone platform. Although the hellfire was blazing around him, he sat calmly on the fishing platform. Jun Xiaoyao, was deducing and planning. All sorts of rules of order and the laws of all things were churning in his mind. The surrounding 10-world origins were absorbed into Jun Xiaoyao's dantian. Jun Xiaoyao didn't want to turn the 10 realms' origins into immortal seeds. Instead, he wanted to use the 10 realms' essences as resources to comprehend his own Tao. Gradually, the 10-world origins merged into one in his dantian, turning into a chaotic seed. This seed could be called a 10 realms immortal seed. If one had to rank the innumerable immortal seeds that had appeared since ancient times, this 10 realms immortal seed would definitely be ranked in the top 3. This was an immortal seed formed from the fusion of the 10 realms origins. Its might was simply heaven-defying. It could be said that right now, Jun Xiaoyao could directly refine this 10 realms immortal seed. He would obtain unimaginable support. Once he made a breakthrough in fusion, Jun Xiaoyao would immediately become the most brilliant blazing sun amongst his peers. What a powerful immortal seed! They could feel the terrifying fluctuations of the 10 realms immortal seed within Jun Xiaoyao's body. Xiao Maxian, Ji Qingyi, River of Forgetfulness, and the others all revealed looks of surprise. The immortal seeds they possessed were also extremely high level. But compared to the 10 realms immortal seed, they were far weaker. If I could obtain the 10 realms immortal seed and fuse it together, just how powerful would I be? River of Forgetfulness sighed, a trace of unwillingness in his heart. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to obtain the 10 realms immortal seed. However, what left River of Forgetfulness and the others dumbfounded was that Jun Xiaoyao didn't choose to fuse with the 10 realms immortal seed. He was using the 10 realms immortal seed as nourishment and perceiving his own Tao. Little big brother Xiaoyao is too courageous. If it were me, I would have already fused with the 10 realms immortal seed. Xiao Maxian sighed. This sort of feeling was like Jun Xiaoyao had a broad road in front of him, but he didn't walk down it. He wanted to open up his own path. This sort of thankless task wasn't something that many proud children of heaven would do. They also didn't dare to do it. This was because doing so was likely to attract heavenly retribution and a great terror. River of Forgetfulness had given up because of this. This unknown karmic fire was only foreplay. Rumble, rumble, rumble. As Jun Xiaoyao comprehended, his body began to grow. Within his dantian, it was as if the heavens and earth were being split apart. The chaos origin strength of the universe began to spread out. This strength didn't seem to belong to this world. Rather, it was born from Jun Xiaoyao's body out of thin air. As long as it was an immortal seed, no matter what rank it would be born from this world. Thus, no matter how heaven-defying an immortal seed was, there wouldn't be any problems after refining it. For instance, the 10 realms immortal seed. Although it was heaven-defying, it still wouldn't attract the punishment of the heavens. But things were different now. Within Jun Xiaoyao's dantian, a new energy was born out of thin air. This energy didn't belong to this world. This was a type of energy that Jun Xiaoyao had spontaneously evolved from his own comprehension. To the heavens and earth, this was a strange object that would suffer heavenly retribution. And, just as expected, the moment this energy was born, the world changed colors. Winds and clouds surged and thunder rumbled like a surging tide. What's going on? On the altar, all the proud children of heaven felt their hearts palpitate, as if they were facing the end of the world. Rumble, rumble, rumble. In the skies, dark clouds gathered. Then, 7-colored thunderbolts appeared. This is Saint Tribulation? When they saw the 7-colored thunderbolts, all the proud children of heaven felt their minds rumble and fell into a daze. The 7-colored lightning tribulation was a tribulation to become a saint. Normally, it would only be produced when one transcended the tribulation to become a saint. This kind of tribulation was a great threat to even a saint, let alone Jun Xiaoyao. This was simply not giving Jun Xiaoyao any chance of survival. Jiang Luoli, Yu, and Yin Qingying's expressions changed drastically. They couldn't remain calm because this was simply the heavens. They wanted Jun Xiaoyao to die, but they didn't want to give him any chance of survival. As expected, this is a dead end. No one can break through it, Wang Chuan muttered, but she was inexplicably relieved. With Jun Xiaoyao around, all the proud children of this era would be unable to breathe. If Jun Xiaoyao died, it would be like a mountain crushing the heads of all the proud children of heaven. Looking at the seven-colored lightning tribulation that was about to descend, Jun Xiaoyao also let out a deep breath. I didn't expect the heavens to think so highly of me, Jun Xiaoyao smiled. The more it was like this, the more he could prove that the path he had chosen was not wrong. Jun Xiaoyao did not stop there. He continued to create scenes of chaos in his dantian, creating the world. Bang! Finally, the rainbow-colored lightning seemed to have turned into a rainbow-colored true dragon, charging straight at Jun Xiaoyao. The power of this thunderbolt was enough to easily kill a saint. Chapter 268. Boom! After a deafening sound, the seven-colored thunder tribulation landed where Jun Xiaoyao was. In an instant, the seven-colored thunder tribulation spread out in all directions, making crackling sounds. Jiang Luoli's mind went blank, and she couldn't move her body at all, as if she had been petrified. Is he dead? The surrounding geniuses murmured. Ji Qingyi and the others also fixed their gazes on the top of the altar. Logically speaking, it was impossible for Jun Xiaoyao to withstand the seven-colored thunder tribulation. As the thunder tribulation dissipated, everyone's gaze froze. There was a look of horror on their faces, because Jun Xiaoyao was safe and sound. And the reason why he was safe and sound was because there was a heroic and imposing figure standing in front of him. His black hair fell to his feet, and his entire body exuded a demonic aura. It was the holy physique of the fallen. The holy physique of the fallen roared to the sky. His black hair fluttered in the wind, making him look like an unyielding, celestial demon. This, not to mention the others, even Jun Xiaoyao himself was stunned for a moment. He did not infuse his soul power into the holy physique of the fallen. In other words, the holy physique of the fallen was now acting according to his own will and was not under Jun Xiaoyao's control. But how could this be? Jun Xiaoyao was puzzled. But then he remembered that when he was controlling the holy physique of the fallen, there seemed to be some clarity in the holy physique of the fallen's eyes. At that time, Jun Xiaoyao did not pay much attention to it and thought it was an illusion. But now it seemed that the holy physique of the fallen still maintained a deep level of consciousness. But why did he take the initiative to protect me? Jun Xiaoyao was puzzled again. At that moment, there was another roar in the sky. The heavens seemed to be very angry that they could not kill Jun Xiaoyao with one blow. Streaks of seven-colored thunder tribulation struck down. Each of the streaks of thunder could easily kill a sage. The holy physique of the fallen roared. He stomped his feet on the ground and soared into the sky to meet the thunder tribulation. Saint Realm experts weren't allowed in the Ten Realms Rift. However, at that moment, the fallen Saint physique was only using his physical strength to resist the power of the seven-colored thunder calamity. He did not have the magical power of a saint. Boom, boom, boom. Bolts of lightning struck Sacred Being of the Fallen. But Sacred Being of the Fallen did not take a step back. Even though his body began to crack, he did not retreat. Jun Xiaoyao took a deep breath. Without any hesitation, he took advantage of this opportunity to continue his enlightenment. Within his body, the 10 realms immortal seed had already completely disappeared, turned into resources, nourishing that lump of energy. That ball of energy belonged to Jun Xiaoyao's own Tao. There seemed to be scenes of the creation of the world and the evolution of the chaos of the universe. As this aura gradually spread out, the space around him collapsed bit by bit, turning into nothingness. It was as if Jun Xiaoyao's Tao was above all the Taos in the world, creating its own rules. Once my Tao appears, all Taos will collapse. Jun Xiaoyao was enlightened. He focused all his attention on his own body. His body seemed to have begun to evolve into a world. It was a world that belonged to him, a Tao that belonged to him, and a path that belonged to him. As Jun Xiaoyao's enlightenment deepened, the power of the seven-colored thunder calamity became stronger and stronger. Even sacred being of the fallen's physical body began to crack and gradually collapse. However, sacred being of the fallen was still like a solid wall, blocking everything for Jun Xiaoyao. This might be a kind of protection from the sacred being of the ancients. Sacred being of the fallen hoped that Jun Xiaoyao could spread the power of the sacred being of the ancients and walk an unprecedented path. For the sacred being of the ancients, all the shackles and curses were removed. Boom! In the end, the endless seven-colored thunder calamity directly drowned sacred being of the fallen. His physical body began to collapse. After all, sacred being of the fallen was not the sacred being of the ancients at its peak. His physical body had been through countless experiments and modifications. In the end, it still lost some of the characteristics of the sacred being of the ancients. Therefore, sacred being of the fallen was finally unable to withstand this terrifying thunder calamity of the apocalypse. His body began to shatter into pieces, and in the end, it exploded with a loud bang. At the moment of collapse, there seemed to be a sentence that was transmitted into Jun Xiaoyao's mind. The sacred being of the ancients depends on you. Remember, go to the sacred palace of the ancients. Boom! After protecting Jun Xiaoyao and emitting the last of its remaining heat, Yi Zichen was able to do so. Sacred being of the fallen finally completely collapsed, turned into ashes, and disappeared from the world. Jun Xiaoyao, who heard this, did not have time to be moved. He was focused on deducing the Tao law. However, he heard that sentence and engraved it in his heart. Without the hindrance of sacred being of the fallen, the seven-colored thunder calamity could finally strike Jun Xiaoyao without any hindrance. At this moment, countless heroic spirits appeared around the altar of heroes again. When Jun Xiaoyao was about to reach the top of the altar, tens of thousands of heroic spirits also appeared. Now, there were more than tens of thousands of heroic spirits appearing. There were hundreds of thousands of them. That was not a huge number. One had to know that this was a number that had been accumulated over countless eras in time. Is this really a dead end? Seeing the hundreds of thousands of heroic spirits, Zhang Luoli's little face turned pale. Ji Qingyi and Xiao Maxian also felt a chill. They knew that this path might be very difficult, but they did not expect it to be to this extent. It was no different from a dead end. However, in the next moment, something shocking happened. The hundreds of thousands of heroic spirits were not targeting Jun Xiaoyao, but roaring at the heavens. That's right, they were roaring at the heavens. All of them had once been heroes of ancient times who had made it to the altars. They had wanted to carve out their own paths like Jun Xiaoyao did. However, they had all failed, because the heavens wanted to stop them. Now, after many eras, there was finally someone who could walk their own path. These heroic spirits appeared not to deal with Jun Xiaoyao, but to help Jun Xiaoyao deal with the unfair heavens. Why should humans be trapped by heaven and earth? Why should they only be prisoners in shackles? This was a rebellion against fate. Rumble. Hundreds of thousands of heroic spirits attacked together to resist the heavens. How terrifying was this power? Even the seven-colored lightning tribulation had to retreat before it. Jun Xiaoyao was surrounded by hundreds of thousands of heroic spirits like a god. He looked at the fallen sacred body that had been reduced to ashes and the hundreds of thousands of heroic spirits that had protected him. Even Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were cold. In his dantian, the ball of energy was infinitely compressed and finally seemed to turn into nothingness. However, in the nothingness, a dot suddenly appeared. This point seemed to encompass all things in the universe. A brand new path gradually appeared. This dot did not belong to this world, but was created by Jun Xiaoyao himself. Just as this dot was about to form in the sky, the seven-colored lightning tribulation intertwined and finally turned into a thunderous human face. The thunderous human face was incomparably huge and filled the sky. It opened its mouth, and a terrifying beam of lightning poured down on Jun Xiaoyao. Even though the hundreds of thousands of heroic spirits fought back with all their might, they were unable to resist and were reduced to ashes amidst the screams. Facing this final move that the heavens wanted to use to kill him, Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm. His Tao, his path, was about to be formed. How could he give up now? Come, Jun Xiaoyao, want to compete with the heavens. Jun Xiaoyao shouted coldly and raised his hand. 3 beams of sword aura streaked across the sky and appeared. Faintly, there was a faint emperor's aura being emitted. That is, Ji Qingyi, Xiao Maxian, Wang Chuan, Zhang Luoli, Yu, Yin Qingying, and the rest of the geniuses. Their eyes widened and they took a deep breath. Huge waves surged in their hearts. This was the emperor's aura. Chapter 269. Anything that had anything to do with the emperor represented the highest of all things. The thing that could best display the might of a great emperor was undoubtedly an imperial armament. However, what kind of existence was an imperial armament? It was a strategic weapon, one of the foundations of an immortal family. It could be said that even the successors of immortal powers could not carry an imperial armament with them. Firstly, imperial armaments were too precious. Secondly, it was impossible for the younger generation of geniuses to unleash the might of an imperial armament. Hence, it was impossible for young geniuses to have an imperial armament. However, Wang Chuan and the others were rather baffled by the sight of Jun Xiaoyao bringing out 3 ancient swords. Those 3 swords were the 3 swords of Coiling Emperor. Jun Xiaoyao had already gathered the 3 swords of Coiling Emperor. However, he had not taken them out before. Now, facing the might of the heavenly tribulation, Jun Xiaoyao could only take out these 3 trump cards: Coiling Emperor Life Sword, Coiling Emperor Time Sword, and Coiling Emperor Void Sword. The 3 swords overlapped in the air and started to merge. An emperor's might started to spread out. The 3 swords of Coiling Emperor were originally split from the imperial armament Coiling Emperor Sword. Now that they merged, there was naturally no obstruction. In just a few breaths of time, a terrifying imperial armament with vast emperor's might appeared. It was an ancient sword with a sharpness that could cut through everything in the world. Countless living beings seemed to be worshipping the ancient sword. The aura of time spread out, causing space to collapse, unable to withstand the might of the sword. The imperial armament Coiling Emperor Sword finally appeared in the world. Could that be the Coiling Emperor Sword of the Panwu Jin dynasty? But why would it appear in Jun Xiaoyao's hands? Xiao Maxian and the others were stunned. Imperial armaments were rare. They were the weapons that great emperors nurtured their entire lives. Hence, under normal circumstances, only immortal powers that had produced great emperors could possess them. Hence, most imperial armaments were familiar to everyone. They knew which immortal forces had what kind of extreme Tao Emperor weapons. As for the Coiling Emperor Sword, it was an imperial armament nurtured by great Emperor Panwu. It was passed down from the Panwu Jin dynasty. However, it was later split into 3 and scattered everywhere. In the end, champion Marquis Yang Pan appeared and obtained 1/3 of the Pan Huang sword. It was because of this that River of Forgetfulness, Xiao Maxian, Ji Qingyi, and the others were so shocked when they saw Jun Xiaoyao take out the Coiling Emperor Sword. Zhang Luoli knew about it before, so she wasn't too surprised. He actually has an imperial armament. If he had brought it out earlier, he would not have needed to fight with me for so long. He could have heavily injured or even killed me with a single strike. Wang Chuan still had lingering fear. Although Jun Xiaoyao could not fully unleash the power of the imperial armament, he could not even control it smoothly. However, even if he could only unleash a 10,000th of the imperial armament's power, it was enough to pose a huge threat to the River of Forgetfulness. He could even destroy his minor 6 paths of reincarnation disc with a single slash. That imitation of an imperial armament would not be able to withstand an actual imperial armament. At the moment when the crowd was astonished by Jun Xiaoyao's imperial armament, a voice suddenly rang out. The terrifying lightning beam struck the Pan Huang sword directly. In an instant, the Coiling Emperor Sword shook, and a vast emperor's might spread out. The emperor could not be humiliated. Imperial weapons were not to be humiliated. Boom! This impact directly triggered the counterattack of the coiling emperor's sword. This was not Jun Xiaoyao controlling the coiling emperor's sword. Instead, the coiling emperor's sword instinctively counterattacked. A sword light shot out from the coiling emperor's sword, as if it could tear through the void for 10,000 miles. The lightning pillar was directly split into two by the sword light. It was split in half from the middle. Just as I expected. Jun Xiaoyao's lips curled into a smirk. He was certain that the coiling emperor's sword would automatically reveal its emperor's might. If Jun Xiaoyao were the one controlling it, it would be difficult for him to unleash the power of the imperial armament, let alone resist the heavenly punishment. The coiling emperor's sword could be said to have bought Jun Xiaoyao the most precious time. The origin point in Jun Xiaoyao's dantian finally took shape. The moment it took shape, the entire world seemed to freeze and fall silent. All sound had been sucked away. The great Tao of heaven and earth seemed to freeze for an instant. When one Tao appeared, all Tao submitted. The moment Jun Xiaoyao's Tao appeared, the entire 9 heavens and 10 earths and the endless realms froze for an instant. That's right, it was only an instant. It was an instant that could not be any shorter. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, was able to overwhelm all the great paths in the heavens in that very short amount of time. However, after an instant, the world returned to normal as if nothing had happened. However, some ancient existences felt this abnormality. In the immortal realm, in some ancient noble families, Archean royalty, imperishable great sects, and supreme dynasties, there were old antiques who had lived for countless epochs. What happened just now? Why does it feel like everything fell into an absolute standstill for an instant? How is that possible? Who is it? Is it the doing of a great emperor? No, impossible. Not to mention a great emperor. Even the legendary immortals can't have such mighty power to affect the operation of the great Tao and spread throughout the 9 heavens and 10 earths. What's going on? I can't capture the source of this abnormality. That's right. It feels like the source of this abnormality doesn't belong to the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Many old antiques and authorities in the 9 heavens immortal realm were astounded. Some were even trembling in fear. Even the rulers of the Forbidden Zones in the Forbidden Zones were speculating. In the ancient burial ground, the terrifying creatures that had been buried for countless epochs were woken up from their deep slumber. In other words, these old antiques and living fossils would never have thought of it. The abnormality that spread throughout the 9 heavens and 10 earths was caused by a young 9 heaven supreme who had just achieved the Tao reunion realm. Meanwhile, in the Jun clan of the ancients, those who were related to Jun Xiaoyao by blood could vaguely sense it. The closer their blood was, the stronger the reaction. This feeling could be Xiaoyao. Jun Tian's old face was filled with bewilderment. He only wanted Jun Xiaoyao to go down to the lower realm to find a world origin seed. What exactly did Jun Xiaoyao do to trigger such a reaction? However, a moment later, Jun Tian stroked his beard and smiled. He proudly said, "As expected of my grandson, he always brings unexpected surprises. Now, I'm really looking forward to his return. I want to see what he has done." Jun Tian was overjoyed. He assumed Jun Xiaoyao must have found some law-defying immortal seed that was stronger than the world origin seed. He never thought Jun Xiaoyao would carve out his own path. At the same time, in a certain indescribable and inexplicable place, a white-clothed figure was sitting cross-legged in the darkness of ancient times. His body was slightly damaged. His long hair was disheveled and covered his eyes. This feeling, "It's my son," the figure in a white robe murmured. He rose to his feet, as if he was looking into the distance. The rift shattered as soon as he rose to his feet, as if the heavens and earth could not withstand his terrifying power. The overwhelming aura suppressed the 9 heavens and 10 earths and swept across the past, present, and future. Even a supreme 9 heaven supreme was as petty as an ant before the figure in a white robe. Chapter 270. Jun Xiaoyao himself did not expect that the path he opened up would have such an impact. That further proved that the path that Jun Xiaoyao had chosen was the right one. At this moment, on top of the altar of heroes, Jun Xiaoyao's body was shrouded in an unusual aura. A deep origin point appeared in his dantian. That origin seemed to be the embryonic form of the universe, but also like the placenta of the world. It was as if that origin point could evolve into the universe and the myriad realms in the future. And Jun Xiaoyao himself was the creator of the universe. At the same time that this origin was completely formed, the nameless karmic fire and the seven-color tribulation, lightning, also dissipated silently. Because Jun Xiaoyao's Tao had been formed and could no longer be nipped in the bud. Of course, this did not mean that Jun Xiaoyao could sit back and relax. In the future, his Tao would definitely encounter many setbacks, because this origin was only the starting point of Jun Xiaoyao's Tao. As the origin continued to evolve, every time it evolved, it would encounter many disasters, be it natural disasters or man-made disasters. But Jun Xiaoyao did not care. His strength would only become stronger as time passed. Now, the heavens could not kill him. It would be even more difficult to kill him in the future. Jun Xiaoyao was confident that he would be able to fully develop his own path. He really succeeded when they saw that the lightning tribulation had dissipated and Jun Xiaoyao was safe and sound. The geniuses on the altar were all a little dazed. This was a path that countless geniuses had wanted to open up since ancient times, but had not been able to. But Jun Xiaoyao had opened it. If this news were to spread to the immortal region, it would cause a huge uproar. In any case, it would definitely be more shocking than anything Jun Xiaoyao had done before, because this was no longer just creating a miracle, but opening up a new world. Jun Xiaoyao had the potential to change the course of history. He has opened up this path. At this moment, Wang Chuan did not know what to feel. Envy, jealousy, fear, and even a trace of admiration. Jun Xiaoyao's existence had refreshed that ancient freak's perception of himself, making him realize just how insignificant he was. In the previous epochs, as long as an ancient freak appeared, they would be able to suppress the other geniuses of that generation. They could be said to be invincible. And now, Jun Xiaoyao proved that ancient freaks were not invincible. Times had changed. Ji Qingyi's eyes flickered. She had not expected Jun Xiaoyao to be able to walk this path. This was a feat that transcended eras. As for Xiao Maxian, her eyes shined with a brilliant light. Don't be fooled by the fact that her words were usually shocking and she seemed to be very open-minded. In fact, it was all just talk. She had never really had an intimate relationship with any man, nor had she ever been moved by any of them. She had only ever teased them verbally. But now, Xiao Maxian discovered that Jun Xiaoyao was far too outstanding. It made her wonder how such a perfect man could exist in this world. His talent, strength, and appearance were one in a million, and he was the best in his generation. Now, he had even walked down his own path. If he didn't perish in the future, confirming his Tao and becoming an emperor might not be his limit. Xiao Maxian, who had always been a boastful person, began to have some thoughts in her heart. She began to think about how she could maintain a good relationship with Jun Xiaoyao. As for Jiang Luoli, she was naturally overjoyed. She felt proud of Jun Xiaoyao. Yu and Yin Qingying also revealed feverish worship in their eyes. This was the young master they were loyal to, an existence that had opened up an era. If they followed Jun Xiaoyao, they would never have to worry about not ruling over the world in the future. Jun Xiaoyao didn't care about these looks of awe or dread. Now he was focused on the Tao within his body. This origin point was filled with the pure power of chaos from the universe's source. This was a strength that Jun Xiaoyao had derived from himself. He didn't rely on any external objects. The 10-world immortal seed had only accelerated this evolution. This origin point represents the starting point of my Tao. In the future, it will evolve from this point, evolving into a domain, a small world, and even a boundless universe. Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself, his eyes bright. Jun Xiaoyao called this point the origin point of God, or the singularity of God. As a transmigrator, Jun Xiaoyao knew that the singularity was the beginning of the universe, the root of the evolution of all things. The origin point of God in his dantian was the singularity of the universe, the starting point of his own world. With the formation of the origin point of God, Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation realm also began to loosen. The origin point of God was Jun Xiaoyao's Tao integration immortal seed. He had fused with his own Tao, so his breakthrough was naturally incomparably smooth. Early Tao integration realm, middle Tao integration realm, late Tao integration realm, small perfection Tao integration realm, large perfection Tao integration realm. In a short instant, Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation realm broke through to the large perfection Tao integration realm without any resistance. Moreover, because it was fused with his own Tao, Jun Xiaoyao felt that his body was incomparably perfect. He could use magic power almost without limit. Although the golden spirit sea of the sacred body of the ancients was very vast and his magic power was vigorous, if he kept using it, there would be a day when it would be exhausted and he would need to refine the spirit chi of the world outside. But now, Jun Xiaoyao did not need to do that. He had the origin point of God, so he could use the power of the origin point of God. It was an endless power. In other words, Jun Xiaoyao's magic power would never be exhausted. Not only that, but the origin point of God also had a special and terrifying power. That was the power of the origin point of the universe. This power was very terrifying. It was even more powerful than the power of reincarnation, the power of chaos, and other powers. Of course, this power was still in its infancy and was not much, but it was enough to give Jun Xiaoyao a huge boost. Jun Xiaoyao even felt that even if he mobilized a trace of the power of the origin point of the universe, it would be enough to destroy the void and sweep across all worlds. This power of the origin point of the universe was Jun Xiaoyao's own power, and it was also one of his biggest trump cards of the moment. It's time to continue to break through, Jun Xiaoyao murmured to himself. He was not satisfied with breaking through to the perfected level of the path integration realm. Jun Xiaoyao had not broken through for a long time. Naturally, he would not just break through one major realm this time. Jun Xiaoyao directly brought out the two Shi ancient emperor flame. This colorful flame seed carried with it a terrifying might that could incinerate the heavens. This was the emperor flame, the highest level fire seed. Jun Xiaoyao directly swallowed the two Shi ancient emperor flame, burned himself, and baptized nirvana. Logically speaking, nirvana with a fire seed was a very dangerous thing to do. If it were other geniuses, they would have to be very careful. They would need to prepare all kinds of pills, sacred medicines, and even elixirs of immortality in advance to prevent the nirvana from failing and dying. However, Jun Xiaoyao did not care at all. He directly began to nirvana without any preparation. Or rather, he did not need to prepare at all. Is he going to nirvana directly? Wang Chuan and the others were stunned. Jun Xiaoyao had just broken through 5 stages and reached the perfected level of the path integration realm. Now, he was breaking through again. Moreover, the colorful flames caused Wang Chuan's heart to palpitate. This was definitely not an ordinary divine flame, but a terrifying emperor flame. Using this kind of flame to nirvana was extremely dangerous. There was an 80 to 90% chance that one would perish and die. Of course, if one could successfully nirvana, the benefits would be much greater than using ordinary divine flames. Just as Wang Chuan and the others thought that Jun Xiaoyao would experience a difficult nirvana, the next scene shocked them so much that they almost stopped breathing. Chapter 271. Jun Xiaoyao sat cross-legged on the stone platform, his entire body burning with multicolored flames. If any other proud son of heaven were to refine this too, Shi ancient emperor flame, there was a 99% chance they would perish. This was because its might was far too tyrannical. Jun Xiaoyao didn't make any preparations. Like this, he began his nirvana. Then, something shocking occurred. The two Shi ancient emperor flame wasn't able to bring any fatal danger to Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao's body was charred black. His body and soul began to burn away at the two-sheet ancient emperor flame. But his expression didn't change at all, nor did he show any signs of pain. His appearance was like an old monk in meditation. An incomparably boundless blood vitality and life force surged through Jun Xiaoyao's body. How is this possible? River of Forgetfulness, Xiao Maxian, Ji Qing Yi, and the others were shocked to the extreme. By all reasoning, the Nirvana realm was an extremely difficult hurdle. If one wasn't careful, then they could fail their Nirvana. Even top proud sons of heaven like them needed all sorts of pills and immortal medicines as they underwent their Nirvana. They also needed someone to protect them. But Jun Xiaoyao was by himself. Without any assistance, he had begun his Nirvana. But he didn't seem to be threatened at all. I thought that I had already overestimated Brother Xiaoyao. But now, Jun Xiaoyao's performance left Ji Qing Yi speechless. Any exclamations she made were unnecessary. Jun Xiaoyao's body and true spirit began to transform. The reason he was immune to the fatal wounds of the two-sheet ancient emperor flame was because of this. The reason for that was the divine origin within his body. Wisps of the original power of the universe were released, protecting Jun Xiaoyao's physical body. Even something as strong as the emperor flame wasn't able to cause any fatal wounds to Jun Xiaoyao. In fact, the fiercer the two-sheet ancient emperor flame was, the greater Jun Xiaoyao's harvest would be. Within his mind's divine palace, his true spirit bathed in the seven-colored emperor flame and began to undergo a deep transformation. This nirvana transformation continued for 7 days and 7 nights. River of Forgetfulness and the others didn't leave. They carefully observed. It was even more impossible for them to interfere or disturb Jun Xiaoyao. This was because as long as they approached Jun Xiaoyao, the two-sheet ancient emperor flame would be drawn towards them. Wang Chuan and the others were not Jun Xiaoyao. They were not immune to the damage of the two-sheet ancient emperor flame. Xiaoyao Gij will definitely succeed. Jiang Luoli wasn't worried at all. Jun Xiaoyao could even open up his own great Tao, so this level of nirvana did not seem to be much. Inside Jun Xiaoyao's Sea God Palace, the true spirit finally took shape. Souls were supposed to be most afraid of being burned by flames. But now, Jun Xiaoyao's true spirit wasn't afraid at all. Amidst the flames, Jun Xiaoyao's true spirit finally transformed. 3 flowers appeared. The flower carried with it the aura of time, as if it existed in the past. A flower, half real and half fake, surrounded by fragments of time, as if it existed in the future. There was also a flower that was incomparably magnificent and divine, with a tiny primordial spirit sitting cross-legged on top of it. It looked like a miniature version of Jun Xiaoyao, and its entire primordial spirit was also full of immortal energy. Jun Xiaoyao looked inside himself and was surprised. 3 flowers appeared in his Sea God Palace, as if they represented the past, present, and future. And of the 3 flowers, only this one revealed a tiny primordial spirit. There was nothing on the other 2 flowers. Could this be the primordial spirit of 3 lives? Jun Xiaoyao was extremely surprised. He had accidentally seen it in the ancient books in the Jun family's Hidden Scriptures Pavilion. The primordial spirit of 3 lives was the rarest and rarest primordial spirit. If one cultivated it to the great success stage, the past, present, and future primordial spirits of 3 lives would sit cross-legged on the 3 great Tao flowers. As long as any one of the primordial spirits existed, the primordial spirit would never be destroyed. This was terrifying to the extreme, and it was simply heaven-defying. In addition, the primordial spirit of 3 lives also had various special abilities that were hard to explain at the moment. Jun Xiaoyao also didn't expect that he would be able to transform into the primordial spirit of 3 lives. This was definitely the top primordial spirit. Since ancient times, there were few primordial spirits that could compare to it. The harvest this time is too great. Jun Xiaoyao couldn't help but sigh. His divine seed was a divine origin that belonged exclusively to him. His primordial spirit was the most powerful primordial spirit since ancient times, the primordial spirit of 3 lives. Jun Xiaoyao really wanted to ask who else was there. With the formation of the primordial spirit of 3 lives, Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation realm also skyrocketed again. The early stage of the Nirvana realm, the middle stage of the Nirvana realm, the late stage of the Nirvana realm, the small perfection stage of the Nirvana realm, the great perfection stage of the Nirvana realm. Jun Xiaoyao once again broke through 5 small realms in a row, and then a big realm. The surrounding geniuses didn't know what expression to show. For them, the Nirvana realm was extremely dangerous. For Jun Xiaoyao, it was as if he had just sat cross-legged for a few days and easily passed it. Continue. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were clear. He didn't stop breaking through. The accumulation of experience over a long period of time gave Jun Xiaoyao the greatest motivation. He broke through the perfected Nirvana realm again and reached the Heaven Ascension realm. The Heaven Ascension realm was the resonance between the primordial spirit and the divine seed, and a single thought could reach the heavens. The Heaven Ascension realm could also be called a noble. The so-called noble weapon was the divine weapon used by the Heaven Ascension realm nobles. Further up was the divine fire realm, and then the 9th level of the Saint Ascension realm. Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit of 3 lives and divine origin were both the best. When the two resonated, the power was unimaginably powerful. The bottleneck of the Heaven Ascension realm was almost easily broken. Jun Xiaoyao began to break through crazily again. The early stage of the Heaven Ascension realm, the middle stage of the Heaven Ascension realm, the late stage of the Heaven Ascension realm, the lesser perfection of the Heaven Ascension realm, the greater perfection of the Heaven Ascension realm. Shocking, stunned, an unprecedented impact. Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation breakthrough overturned the worldviews of the geniuses of the lower world. They were all cultivators. Why was it that when they cultivated, it was like they were climbing a mountain, but when they cultivated, it was like they were riding a rocket? These geniuses of the lower world all began to doubt themselves. Were they trash? No, they were worse than trash. Compared to Jun Xiaoyao, they were simply dregs, trash. Not to mention these geniuses of the lower world. Even Wang Chuan and the others wanted to dig out their eyeballs because they didn't want to see this cruel scene. Jun Xiaoyao's crazy breakthrough was too cruel to them. Comparisons were odious, especially Wang Chuan. As an ancient freak, he had also successfully broken through to the perfected Heaven Ascension realm in his previous cultivation. He had just gained a little confidence in his heart, thinking that he could barely compete with Jun Xiaoyao. In the end, Jun Xiaoyao directly crossed 3 major realms and 15 minor realms in one go to catch up with him. Wang Chuan cursed in his heart, but he didn't know whether to say it or not. However, what Jun Xiaoyao said next almost shattered the Tao heart of an ancient freak like Wang Chuan. Reaching the Heaven Ascension realm at the age of 14 is a little slower than I expected. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head slightly. Although he was very satisfied with his gains, he still felt a little regretful, thinking that his cultivation speed was still a little slow. Puffed. Wang Chuan couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Jun Xiaoyao, you are a ruthless person. Chapter 272. Jun Xiaoyao's words were like a heavy blow to the river of forgetfulness, almost causing his Tao heart to collapse. You're already a heavenly king at 14 years old. What else do you want? Do you want to ascend to the heavens? The river of forgetfulness's Tao heart trembled. The Tao heart of an ancient freak should be as firm as a rock, unshakable. But facing a freak like Jun Xiaoyao, who had never appeared before in history, even an ancient freak would not be able to withstand it. His Tao heart was about to collapse. The river of forgetfulness took deep breaths, forcing himself to calm down. Ji Qingyi, Xiao Maxian, and the others were also unable to calm down. Previously, although Jun Xiaoyao was invincible among the younger generation of the immortal region, his cultivation realm was not outstanding. But now, Jun Xiaoyao had broken through 3 major realms and 15 minor realms in such a short time. His cultivation realm was already at the top of the younger generation of the immortal region. When Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation was not outstanding, he could already sweep through everyone. Now that his cultivation had completely caught up and reached the top, just how strong was Jun Xiaoyao now? Jiang Luoli's eyes shone. If the geniuses of the immortal region knew that Jun Xiaoyao had improved so much in the lower realm, their eyes would definitely pop out of their sockets, right? She was looking forward to seeing Jun Xiaoyao's heroic appearance after he returned to the immortal region. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao was standing at the top of the martyr's altar. His entire being seemed otherworldly and unfathomable. The transformation of the martyr's altar this time was too great for Jun Xiaoyao, and the changes were too great. The current him and the previous him were like two completely different existences. The current Jun Xiaoyao had grasped his own Tao. This meant that Jun Xiaoyao could jump out of the three realms and not be controlled by the five elements. Even if the 9 heavens and 10 earths collapsed, Jun Xiaoyao would not die, because he was an individual that was completely independent of this world, an anomaly that heaven and earth could not tolerate. Throughout the past 1 billion years, who can stand shoulder to shoulder with me? Jun Xiaoyao stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His figure was tall and slender, and his aura was unyielding as he muttered to himself. This was not arrogance, but a kind of invincible confidence. Looking at Jun Xiaoyao's extraordinary figure and listening to his unruly words, Jiang Luoli's heart was about to melt. Her eyes were filled with incomparable worship and infatuation. Not only her, but Jun Xiaoyao's confidence and charisma at this moment was something that no female could avoid. Xiao Maxian couldn't help but drool from the corners of her mouth. She suddenly realized that she was craving Jun Xiaoyao's body. Even Ji Qing Yi, who was as aloof as Qing Lian, found it hard to remain calm. Her Tao heart was like a lotus, so she would not be easily moved. However, at this moment, her mind couldn't help but sway and tremble slightly. As for Yu and Yin Qingying, the two followers, they revealed incomparable worship. This was the young master they followed. Throughout the countless years of history, there were very few people who were qualified to stand shoulder to shoulder with him. Jun Xiaoyao sighed as he stood on top of the altar. He then roughly sorted out what he had gained. There were simply too many to count. The strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant had transformed. The origin immortal bone had increased. His cultivation had broken through to the heavenly king Marquis realm. He had obtained the 2nd volume of the body scripture. He had opened up his own path and evolved into the divine origin. He had also signed in the 2 Shi ancient emperor flame, undergone nirvana, and obtained the 3 lives primordial spirit. It was indeed right to descend to the lower realms. My gains this time are too great. Jun Xiaoyao sighed with emotion. He had gained a lot. It could be said that if the current Jun Xiaoyao were to fight the previous Jun Xiaoyao, he would definitely be able to crush him. This was because the current Jun Xiaoyao had opened up his own path and grasped his own Tao. Their combat strength could not be mentioned in the same breath. His gaze locked onto River of Forgetfulness, and an inexplicable light appeared in his eyes. Being stared at by Jun Xiaoyao, River of Forgetfulness's hair stood on end. She had the illusion that she was being stared at by an ancient beast. Not good, let's go. River of Forgetfulness was startled. Without hesitation, she turned around and rushed away. As Jun Xiaoyao completed his transformation, the restrictions on the entire martyr's altar were also removed. All the geniuses were free to leave. River of Forgetfulness's figure shot into the distance, wanting to escape. Seeing this, Jun Xiaoyao shook his head with a faint smile. For better or worse, you're an ancient freak. What's the point of running away without a fight? Jun Xiaoyao lightly said. Now, looking at everyone present, the only one who had some enmity with Jun Xiaoyao was River of Forgetfulness. As for Xiao Maxian, she was extremely obedient and wouldn't go against Jun Xiaoyao. Therefore, the only person Jun Xiaoyao needed to deal with was River of Forgetfulness. Behind him, the snow-white and sacred wings of freedom appeared. This was the evolved version of the demon wings. It had washed away the evil demonic aura and became incomparably sacred. The wings of freedom flapped slightly, and Jun Xiaoyao displayed extreme speed in the void. This speed was far, far faster than the demon wings from before. It was true freedom, as if he could roam the heavens. In just a short moment, Jun Xiaoyao's figure appeared behind River of Forgetfulness. River of Forgetfulness was startled and hurriedly took out the small 6 paths of reincarnation disc to block. Jun Xiaoyao didn't take out the coiling Emperor's sword. He wanted to test his own strength now, so he didn't rely on any external objects. Jun Xiaoyao simply punched out. 10 billion kilograms of terrifying divine power poured out. This represented the peak of Jun Xiaoyao's strength at this stage. 10 billion kilograms was a limit. It was also a strength that geniuses of the same generation couldn't imagine. Rumble. Jun Xiaoyao's punch shattered the void and directly smashed onto the small 6 paths of reincarnation disc. With a loud bang, the small 6 paths of reincarnation disc trembled violently. An extremely frightening rebound force viciously struck Wang Chuan's body. River of Forgetfulness's chest felt stuffy, as if she had been hit by a sledgehammer. She spat out blood and was sent flying. Seeing this scene, Ji Qing Yi, Xiao Maxian, and the others couldn't help but be shocked. This was an ancient freak. Moreover, she had the sacred reincarnation constitution. Yet, she was defeated by Jun Xiaoyao in one move. Previously, River of Forgetfulness and Jun Xiaoyao could still fight evenly. Now, she couldn't even withstand a single blow. My strength is indeed much stronger than before. Jun Xiaoyao wasn't surprised. This was because his strength had increased by too much this time. The Heaven Ascension realm could reach the heavens with a single thought. With a raise of his hand, there was great power that could destroy everything in all directions. Although River of Forgetfulness was also in the Heaven Ascension realm, in terms of strength, she obviously couldn't compare to Jun Xiaoyao. After all, Jun Xiaoyao had walked his own path. That's right, I should try the power of the origin of God, Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. He completely treated River of Forgetfulness as a whetstone to test his Tao. The deep origin in Jun Xiaoyao's Dantian seemed to evolve all things in the world. It had a Tao that belonged to Jun Xiaoyao. A wisp of the universe's origin power spread out and supported Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao punched out again. In an instant, chaos spread. The universe was created, and heaven and earth were overturned. It was as if they had arrived at the origin of the creation of heaven and earth. Jun Xiaoyao's punch seemed to be able to create and destroy all things. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao was like the only ruler, a god who created and destroyed the world. River of Forgetfulness was so scared that her soul almost left her body. She didn't feel like she was facing a prodigy of the same generation. Instead, she was facing a true god. Chapter 273. At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's aura was too strong. It was as if a creator of the universe had arrived. He could destroy with a thought and create with a thought. When this fist smashed down, it was as if the universe was pressing down, bringing endless terror and despair to the onlookers. It was like a person facing the endless universe, insignificant and helpless. This was the power of the universe's origin. Even if it was just a wisp, it was enough to produce a huge amount of energy. Not to mention Wang Chuan and the others. Even Jun Xiaoyao himself was a little surprised by this power. Controlling destruction and regeneration. This power is too terrifying. But now, it's only in the brewing stage. Jun Xiaoyao thought. The origin of God was the starting point of Jun Xiaoyao's Tao. In the future, the origin would continue to transform and produce all kinds of unbelievable changes. Jun Xiaoyao's power would only become stronger and stronger. With a punch, the ground caved in, and a deep pit with a radius of nearly 10,000 feet was smashed out. Endless cracks spread out, and the entire ground was shattered. Wang Chuan's entire body was smashed into the ground, and cracks appeared on the small 6 paths of reincarnation. One had to know that this was a supreme artifact. Although Wang Chuan couldn't fully unleash the power of the small 6 paths of reincarnation, It wasn't something that anyone could easily defeat. Looking at Jun Xiaoyao, who had beaten the ancient freak to a pulp with a single punch, they didn't know whether he was dead or alive. Ji Qingyi, Xiao Maxian, and the others didn't know what to say. They couldn't imagine how miserable Jun Xiaoyao's opponents and enemies would be if he returned to the celestial realm. Cough, cough. There was the sound of coughing blood. Wang Chuan stepped out of the deep pit step by step. His body was broken, and his chin was stained with blood. His aura was extremely weak. Wang Chuan's eyes were also filled with fear. In his era, Wang Chuan had reached the peak and was one of the most powerful young supremes. But in this era, Wang Chuan had just been born, and he had encountered Jun Xiaoyao. It could be said that he was very miserable. Otherwise, he would probably continue the glory of the sacred reincarnation physique. Oh, you're not dead yet? Jun Xiaoyao was a little surprised. As expected of an ancient freak, there was still something special about him. If it were a prodigy of the current generation, he would have been smashed into minced meat by Jun Xiaoyao's punch. Although Wang Chuan was barely alive, it was clear that she did not have the strength to continue fighting. It's over. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was calm. Jun Xiaoyao would let them go for the time being unless they were valuable enemies, such as Xiao Chun and Yang Pan. However, the River of Forgetfulness was of no use to him. Moreover, it was an ancient freak and posed a certain threat. Jun Xiaoyao naturally would not be soft-hearted. Instead, he wanted to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Sensing Jun Xiaoyao's killing intent, Forget Chuan's heart turned cold. He had been hidden in the lower realm for countless years, and as soon as he came out, he still wanted to sweep through the current generation. But now he was going to die. Wang Chuan could not accept this result. It was too tragic. Die. Jun Xiaoyao's expression was indifferent as he slammed his palm down. Origin energy flowed between his fingers and palm, causing the void to collapse. With this palm, the River of Forgetfulness could no longer resist. As Xiao Maxian saw this, her face tightened. River of Forgetfulness could be considered her ally, and there was a chance that he would join the celestial demon cult. She wanted to stop him, but she couldn't find the words to do so. Xiao Maxian was also well aware of Jun Xiaoyao's personality. Would he stop because of Xiao Maxian's dissuasion? That was clearly impossible. Thus, in the end, she didn't try to dissuade him, lest she anger Jun Xiaoyao. Looking at Jun Xiaoyao's palm pressing down, River of Forgetfulness clenched his teeth and finally said, "I am willing to surrender." Hearing this, Jiang Luoli and the others were surprised. An ancient freak had actually opened his mouth to surrender. Before this was something that was unimaginable. However, Jun Xiaoyao's complexion didn't change at all. To him, whether River of Forgetfulness begged for mercy or not, the result was the same. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao's indifference, River of Forgetfulness clenched his fists. He had just broken through the seal and hadn't even gone to the immortal realm to reveal his glory. How could he be willing to die like this? Wait, Jun Xiaoyao, I still have some value to you. River of Forgetfulness shouted. Jun Xiaoyao arched an eyebrow. River of Forgetfulness made up his mind. He didn't want to die like this, so he could only take out his final bargaining chip. River of Forgetfulness sent a sound transmission to Jun Xiaoyao, informing him of some matters. For instance, he was the saint son of the demon sect of Samsara, the only person who could find the demon sect of Samsara's treasury. In the demon sect of Samsara's treasury, there was even an emperor weapon, the 6 paths of Samsara disc. Originally, River of Forgetfulness couldn't casually let others know of this matter. But now, in order to survive, River of Forgetfulness could only do this. Jun Xiaoyao's palm stopped in front of River of Forgetfulness, only 3 feet away from his head. River of Forgetfulness was covered in a cold sweat, his face pale. If he had spoken a moment later, he might have been a headless corpse. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. Although he didn't fully believe River of Forgetfulness's words, he felt that it was very likely. You should know the consequences of deceiving this son of God. Jun Xiaoyao looked down with a cold gaze. Of course I know. Now that the demon sect of Samsara has disappeared in the long river of history, I'm the only one left. How would I dare to deceive you and the Jun family? River of Forgetfulness replied. Right now, he was all alone. And Jun Xiaoyao was backed by a huge immortal family. If River of Forgetfulness had deceived Jun Xiaoyao, he wouldn't be able to escape death in the end. You can live, but you have to plant a slave seal. The first half of Jun Xiaoyao's sentence made River of Forgetfulness heave a sigh of relief. Then, his expression turned ugly. The slave seal was an extremely humiliating method. Jun Xiaoyao used this method to deal with Wu Mingwe before, but he still released her in the end. If the slave seal was planted, River of Forgetfulness's life and death would be in Jun Xiaoyao's hands. But this wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that he was an ancient freak. Who would dare to believe that an ancient freak will be planted with a slave seal? River of Forgetfulness secretly gritted his teeth and said, "Can you take a step back, even if it means becoming a follower?" At least becoming a follower wasn't as extreme as planting a slave seal. And Jun Xiaoyao had walked his own path. If he didn't fall in the future, he would definitely reach the peak. Therefore, it wasn't unacceptable to become Jun Xiaoyao's follower. I don't want to be a follower for the time being. Also, you don't have the right to bargain, Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. Hearing this, River of Forgetfulness felt humiliated. He was an ancient freak, but he didn't even have the right to become a follower. Jun Xiaoyao frowned slightly, obviously a little impatient. The treasure vault of the demon sect of Samsara was very tempting, but Jun Xiaoyao didn't have to get it. It would be better if he got it. Even if he couldn't get it, he wouldn't lose a piece of flesh. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao's impatience, River of Forgetfulness took a deep breath and knelt down on one knee in front of Jun Xiaoyao. In order to live, River of Forgetfulness could only accept. Seeing this, Jun Xiaoyao's face revealed a strange look. This ancient freak of the demon sect of Samsara was able to adapt to circumstances. The temperament of an ancient freak was indeed incomparable to that of the current generation's unruly prodigies. River of Forgetfulness opened the divine palace in his mind and let Jun Xiaoyao plant the slave seal. At this point, this ancient freak was completely under Jun Xiaoyao's control and became his slave. If the people of the immortal region knew about this, it would cause a huge commotion, because the one Jun Xiaoyao enslaved was not a prodigy of the current generation, but an ancient freak like Princess Longji.